I'm really still upset about that Lady Britannico nonsense. I can't believe I start joking around about it, about betting on the horse, and the horse has to go off and win.
Just save your upsetness for the rest of the weekend, because I feel like you're going to have to use the balance of it for something at some point. And you're going to want to use a whole lot of upset for probably what's going to happen at Pimlico.
That's true. I mean, I won a decent amount of money on a Britannico last 2 weeks ago. So,
did you know?
No one wants to.
Who was that horse's name?
I forgot. But they might not be the winner of that race anymore. Anyways, we are on the wrong lead. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna be talking about a lot of races here. I think last week we did such a great job getting through races so fast. I thought, hey, why don't we try and do 2 cards in one day? And I tried to shorten it, and then I was told by Mark, like, we're gonna miss a lot of good races if we do this. So we're gonna see what happens. We'll see what happens here. Stephen Fox already coming out firing. What's most likely to happen? Bet for coming clean or on the wrong lead starting on time?
This was my fault. I was out back peeing on the hay, and I couldn't get it back here in time. My apologies, Stephen.
Were you peeing on the hay in the loft like they store it in a horse barn? Oh, okay, good. Because
we were actually trying to wait on Caleb because I know he said he might be a little late, so he'll probably be joining us here in a couple minutes. But I don't know. I maybe his ego took a bit of a hit, seeing as he is now the second best looking member on the wrong lead. Chase, you got a nice little shout out from Bremont with your lovely shirt.
Yep. Stable Duel is a partner of my stream that I do with America's Best Racing, and she was nice enough to send me a couple free things. Nice new shirt, nice new hat. So I had to put my ugly mug on Twitter. It turned out I'm not as ugly as I think I am.
This is the haircut, man. You got the fresh fade going.
Just the fuckboy haircut does it for everybody.
You're way too old to have the fuckboy title.
So, question: does your barbershop have like a cool name, like Headliners or?
No, it doesn't. No? It just has a regional town name. That's pretty much it. And by that I meant I went to sports clips like a punk.
You went to sports clip? Did you get the MVP treatment? You got the hot towel massage?
I didn't.
No.
No.
Did we talk about that once? I remember having this conversation about the hot towel massage and just like the awkwardness.
Oh yeah.
Of it.
Yeah.
Really? You think it's awkward? Why?
Oh, the massage where they most definitely just will not touch you, where they just use like the weird like Theragun thing through like 2 or 3 layers of towel. Just like, we know you're paying for this, but this is not what you think it is.
Oh man. Yeah, so let's go ahead and I guess I should have had this prepared, which I normally do, but let me go ahead and share my
around here. What are you talking about? I'd be disappointed if you were prepared.
Yeah, I know. I was like, tried to have these PPs up. I'm not even on the right race.
No, you're on the wrong race. I mean, this is normal, Josh.
This is pretty typical of an on the wrong lead stream, so I figured we would kind of stay on brand there. But so we got the Allaire DuPont Distaff here. We're going to be going 1 mile and 1/8 for fillies and mares, 3-year-old and up. We got a morning line favorite of probably one of my favorite horses in training, the 5 Horologist, who is actually also going to be my pick in this race. I think Horologist is going to sit a nice trip here, sitting just off the pace. I know. I think off of notorious money burner, Mrs. Danvers, which I believe Caleb. I wish Caleb was here because I think Caleb's lost just like a ton of money on this horse, but I could be wrong.
Same here. I'll substitute in for that one. Also, just never on the right side of Mrs. Danvers.
Hold on. Yeah. First you substitute in for the good-looking one, and now for Mrs. Danvers. I'm so confused right now.
yeah. I'm really just going full-on single white female on this. Just.
But it looks like Dream a Little Dream of You and Mrs. Danvers will probably be the pace here, and I think Horologist is going to sit a nice pocket trip here, sitting in third. I think she is she's just the best horse in this race. So I'm just going to stick with Horologist. I'm not going to get too crazy here. I probably won't play much through this race, honestly. So I didn't want to delve a ton in here because I was more interested in playing the late pick 5, and this is like just one of those odd races that I think probably links up. Is there a middle pick 5 in here? I don't think so, right? Is there?
5. This is the most bizarrely carded race or 2 days of racing of the entire calendar year, where there are no middle pick 5s. The pick 4s are in stupid spots. Like the late pick 4 starts in race 10, so it doesn't even cover the last race. It just very, very, very oddly structured sequences.
Yeah. So there's not really like a big horizontal that goes through this race. So I'll probably, if I play anything here, it'll be either like a pick 3 or a double, and I'll be singling Horologist. So
yeah, I pretty much.
Go ahead, Mark.
No, I was just saying I pretty much agree with what Josh is saying here. I think Horologist is the horse to beat in here, and I think the only other horse I really kind of like with an upset chance is Get Rid of What Ails You. I think we've sort of kind of know what Mrs. Danvers is. She's a horse. If she runs into a real soft field where she absolutely towers over it, she sometimes wins. But she doesn't really get it done. Versus and Horologist is beating her straight up last out. So I think Miss Danvers, who's could potentially be your favorite in here, or second choice at least, is kind of unexposed. And I feel the same thing about Spice is Nice. I think Spice is Nice is a horse that every time she steps up to Graded Stakes company, she gets her ass kicked. So she's going to take a ton of money just on connections, and I don't really love her. So I think, Get Rid of What Ails You is the horse that probably has the most upside, and has not been exposed massively yet, and seems to be kind of getting a little better every race. So she needs a pace setup. She could potentially be pace compromised in here. I don't know if there's going to be that much pace on. I don't think there's going to be a contentious pace. So she might be a little pace compromised in here. But she's the other one I'm interested in.
So Josh, I think, was pretty well on it with this race. So the only thing I'm going to add are just two thoughts. One with Horologist is Pimlico close enough to New Jersey for Horologist to win? Because that seems to be where Horologist does its damage at Monmouth. And then with Get Rid of What Ails You, if the pace heats up a little bit, then I think Get Rid of What Ails You is the horse that can take, will benefit the most from it. And also you have to consider that Get Rid of What Ails You, its last 2 races is run against She Dares the Devil, Latruska, Swiss Skydiver, Monomoy Girl, Latruska. So
there's no one in here that classy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. This is no one here that classy.
Class relief, stealth class relief, right?
Yeah, and if it heats up, the horse could most definitely take the race. But I think it's like Mark said, pace compromised. But I do definitely like to get a piece.
And I will say also, you're getting JJ up here, and he's he's fairly good at reading pace, so I think he'll keep this one a little closer, hopefully, than she has a tendency to. She does like to drift off and go, 10 back and make those massive moves. If she runs that 2-back race where she only gets 4 or 5 lengths off, she's going to be in much more striking distance here, and should be a little bit more viable.
Mark's favorite angle, JJ for a small barn.
Yep,
Brian.
Yeah, except for it's the Cox barn, which isn't really what I'd refer to as being a small barn.
I can't go much different than you guys. I think Horologist is the horse to beat here. What I'm actually looking for is I like a little bit of the 2 underneath. If the exacta probables are good, Horologist, Dream a Little Dream of You. Horse has really stepped up nicely since turning 4. Probably a little bit of it might be a steep spot for it, but for underneath, we're not talking about win. I think the exacta will hold some value there just because the horse coming out of Turfway and Fairgrounds doesn't hold that glamorous resume that you would expect to see here.
Is the 2 really a dirt horse, though?
Well, that's probably the question, right? I mean,
the 2-back Fairgrounds Fig comes back really, really stout, but again, that was on a sloppy track, and she's 2 for 2 on a sloppy track. I don't know if any of her dirt races here, really stack up, but I would agree with you. I'm sort of like an Exacto wheeling her underneath or wheeling her into a try. You're going to get a lot of value there, on some fairly decent connections all the way around. It's the other Cox, and he spots them well, so.
It's one of those things that may not be a dirt horse, but if you look at the other horses here besides Horologist and maybe get rid of what ails you, you don't really have much else here. And I'm hoping the horse just has a price. Maybe the Exacta Probable comes back at like 22, 24. At that point, it's something that interests me.
Yeah, and I already beat up Spice is Nice, so I probably put her in the winner's circle. But she has been the sort of talked hype horse in here, the wise guy horse, if you as it be. So I'm hoping Spice is Nice takes a ton of money in this race and makes something like Brian's Exacta have some spice to it.
Heyo.
There's it's funny that you mentioned that about sorry, I started scrolling down. The Dream a Little Dream of You, whether or not it's a turf horse. There was another horse later in the card. I think it was today, but maybe it's tomorrow, where it's a Brad Cox horse, and the horse is one. Maybe is it Adventuring? Was Adventuring the horse that like won on synthetic, and I think like 3 or 4 other races were all washed off the turf dirt races. And it's like, really, now you're going to run it on dirt, like when the horse is clearly like you're trying to get this horse on turf, like.
Yeah, there's one horse. Well, there's also a race. I think it's in tomorrow's card. I think we'll get to it later. Where one of the horses I like, who's a bit of a price, is it had like 5 starts on turf, and then the one got rained off at Keeneland and ran away and ran a hole in the wind. I think that's actually in the Black Eyed Susan. Maybe it is. I can't remember. Anyways, we'll get there.
Yep. Road Warrior, as usual, always just quick with the knowledge. He says, just checked, 155 miles the way a crow flies from Monmouth finish line to Pimlico finish line.
Close enough, sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, Horologist already won at Aqueduct and at Belmont as well, so I think she'll be fine. But let's move on to the very one here. We're going to be going 5 furlongs on the turf. Mark, what are you thinking here?
I'm thinking that I used to love when some of the sort of Maryland breds used to run in this race, and the horses escapes me who won it like a G1 as a 9-year-old. Brian should be able to come up with his name, and I can't think of it right now. Gelding that Leatherberry had. Anyways, so
it'll be a different day.
Yeah. Give me a second. I'll come up with it.
I'm sure John Massey will come up with it if he's in chat. I don't know if he's on or not.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of I didn't get super creative here. I think my top choice is Caravel. The 3 horses seems to be really improving in form the last few. I think this is sort of the distance. I think the cut back to to what is this? This is 5. It really kind of hits this horse, it's right between the eyeballs. Ton of early speed, should be able to be sort of forwardly placed or on or just off the lead, and has passed horses in the past. So I think Caravel kind of sets the trip here and is the horse I want the most of. The other horse I was really interested in is probably another of the logicals, which is Catch a Bid. I think Catch a Bid is a massively talented horse. They've tried to run her longer, and I really kind of like this cutback. She has got pretty explosive turn of foot, and I think she's sort of interesting in here. After that, I think you can make a case for quite a few others, but those were the 2 that I liked some horses that were way on the outside, but I didn't know what to do with really outside drawn horses at 5 on the turf. You're asking for a bad trip. I mean, even Catch a Bit in the 9 path it's going to be tough to work a trip, but with her run style set, and I would say as up, I think she'll be okay.
Chase.
I think I'm just based on what I saw watching Pimlico today, especially with the turf. I feel like I'm going to be looking more at off the pace type horses. Caravel definitely looks like the speed of speed, and probably your most likely winner. barring just an ugly trip, I think I want a horse like Dixie and Candyland to kind of pick up the pieces here with Rosario aboard. I think I'm going to get enough pace where, if Rosario doesn't do something, kind of cheeky to show off that the horse can maybe get up and steal this one. Catch a bid, like you mentioned, though I'm very wary of Joe Sharp at the current juncture. Another one that's really interesting was Go-Go Shoes. You have a horse that's been running, routes on the turf, and then cuts back to 6 furlongs at Aqueduct, puts Kendrick Carmouche up, and then just romps. Granted, it was an allowance race with conditions, but I'd like to see Carmouche on the horse again if he's going to try to maybe press it and steal it from Caravel. But with that inside draw, you could see just being the horse, sending. But my thought is that this is going to be a race that's won by a horse from off the pace. And so Dixie and Candyland or Catch a Bid are the two that I'm definitely going to be looking at.
Yeah, Brad Taylor just posted Ben's Cat. Ben's Cat was the horse I was trying to think of. It took me a second. I just couldn't come up with a name on the spot. I think Ben's Cat won this race about 6 years in a row.
Brad Taylor just coming in with the knowledge. Thank you, Brad. Brian, who wins this race?
Unfortunately, I had the same couple horses these two had. I had Dixie and Candyland and Caravel pretty close together, but because I want to be different, and that's usually what I do, let's go further outside in a 5 furlong race, and let's look at the 12. Got to go Mo. Last out, almost went wire to wire, but you go back 2 back, the horse was able to stalk, and if the pace is as hot as Chase is thinking it's going to be, a horse that can sit off and win, this horse has proven it. Now, whether or not Jose's got the right touch tomorrow, who knows, but an 8-1 morning line, that might be the horse I'm looking at. I don't think the 3 or the 11 are going to offer me much value there. So at 8-1 on that horse, who's proven how that it can maybe be a little versatile, I think I got to look at it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Brian. And I don't know if Road Warrior is either going to love or hate my picks in here. But I'm going to actually take 2 horses here are going to be my 2 A's, and probably all I use here. One is going to be the 12, Gotta Go Mo. The other one is going to be the 6 horse, Queen of Shades. Got a nice big old E8. I know you guys were talking shit about my E8s earlier. But Timeform has this as the fastest horse early. We got an E8 designation here from Brisnet. You get Arad Ortiz aboard, and for the surprisingly male Kelly Breen. I don't know. Looking at this horse's PPs, specifically on Timeform, this horse seems to fit. At least with Figs, seems to be pretty close up here with the rest of the field. But I kind of agree with Mark. Like, you kind of want to get a horse that's going to get close to the front or on the lead, is not going to be posted out too far wide. So I think that Queen of Shades is going to sit a nice little trip here. The 3 could just be the best and win this one. But if I'm gonna get double the price on the 6 and the 12, I definitely those would be the 2 horses that I'll probably try and keep most of my plays around. I think that they, at least on Timeform, they look pretty fast. So
that's fitting because you're pretty much the Queen of Shades of our group. So
that's true.
Well, what do you make of you look at somebody like Queen of Shades, last out going 5.5, allowance 85, had pace pressure early and completely collapsed in the stretch at Keeneland. Are you trying to make that up to just couldn't get 5.5 and 5's going to be the ticket, or the turf conditions, or suddenly going to turn over a new leaf and figure out how to go that extra half furlong with pace pressure?
Like that last race, the horse did fold up, but if you kind of go back and dig a little bit deeper in these horses' PPs, you see if the horse can get the lead, the horse will hang on. Even looking at some of these other,
except for last one.
except for the last one, but a couple of these, you got a couple of red coated fractions here, and even this race at Laurel. I know we're going back to to the Jason Service Train days, but that race at Laurel, had a hot pace and was able to sit just off of it. So I think I don't know. I think that this horse is going to be pretty. He's going to be forwardly placed, and I just think that this little. I don't think that the pace is going to be as hot as Chase might think, but yeah, if it does go nuclear, then you're going to definitely want someone off the pace, and I think the 12 will probably sit a nice trip, mostly because he's going to be posted outside. So,
hey, going back to your Queen of Shades real quick, Josh, I did have a note from that. And why I think the horse faltered so bad. If you go back and watch the replay, Tyler had a great spot, set the pace really early. Then when they came down the stretch, he came off the rail. He gave up the rail, went wide, and I didn't understand why. He gave up a lot of ground that way. So if you like to watch replays, I suggest you go back and watch that replay. This horse might take a lot more action than you're expecting.
I remember that being a pretty – it was listed as good turf at Keeneland, but I remember that
it was
weekend.
heavy.
It seemed like a pretty.
There's a lot of cut in it. That's why I specifically was like, are you saying it's the conditions? Because if you're saying that they're going to be fast at Pimlico and that heavy turf just took the speed out of that horse, then I'd completely buy the argument. I think it makes a lot of sense. It makes enough. I'm actually notating it down. So,
yeah, I mean, if you look at its other attempt on good turf, it was on Gulfstream good turf, which is still like. Yeah, like concrete hard. So I like. I mean, if you think someone's going to challenge Caravel for the speed of that race, then that could be the horse. So I don't dislike Josh's play there.
I mean, you get Arad instead of Tyler Gaffleone. I mean,
is he good?
I mean, compared to Tyler Gaffleone.
Yeah, but that's a low bar.
Let's be honest. They're all professionals. They're all going to give you what they can.
That's true.
Gaff just doesn't have a lot to give. That's all.
They're 120 pounds on a 1,200-pound animal. The horse is gonna do what the horse wants to do. Yeah, I went there.
Yeah. Shout out to Papo and his fans who. Well, Papo doesn't say this, but I know every once in a while people say that we put too much credence on connections, and yeah, I could kind of see that sometimes, but.
So allow me to. I like connections.
Oh yeah. Tip of the hat to Ellis.
Box of chalk exact real quick.
I'll stop paying attention to connections when it stops working.
Has class stopped working yet? Because Stephen Fox probably kind of called me out there for making fun of class and then picking the 12 there.
Let's move on to the Myth Preakness here. We got 6 furlongs.
I should have mixed 2 drinks. I'm already through number 1. We're like 2 races in. No, I'll sit around before I go and make round 2.
Well, we'll take a break. We'll take a break for the second day. But race 10 here. 6 furlongs on the dirt. Got a grade 3 here for fillies, 3 years old. Chase, what do you think?
I think this is a really good race. There's not a whole lot of star power here. Abrogate might prove to be a pretty good sprinter moving forward. It's another race where you just expect there to be a ton of pace. I kind of like these horses that have more of that, E2 speed. And so I'm really interested in like Red Ghost or Street Loot, horses that can maybe kind of separate themselves a little bit going, through the turn. If I'm going to look elsewhere, then I'm probably going to be interested in a horse like Paradise Song, who I like that little bit of closing kick that it's got, especially at a 10-1 price. But in my opinion, this race is just absolutely wide open in terms of who could pull this one down. Because you've got a lot of just not extremely accomplished horses, very lightly raced in some cases. So you can 100% could get a surprise here, but yeah, I like those kind of horses that might try to do something in the middle, like Red Ghost or Street Loot.
Mark does not know what to do with Paradise Song because it's like a horse that he absolutely hates and a horse he absolutely loves in Voodoo Song in Paradise Woods.
Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting pedigree, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I landed the same spots here that Chase sort of did. I ended up on Abrogate, and I think Abrogate could be like Chase said, a stupidly talented 6 furlong horse who maybe she only wants to go 6 furlongs. If you toss the last, the form gets pretty stupidly good, and toss the last, toss the slop efforts, and she's pretty damn impressive. Doesn't really need to take a step forward here, can kind of run back to her last and still win this. I think she makes just an absolute ton of sense in here. And the other horse that I really liked was another one that Chase sort of mentioned, who's Street Loot, who, anytime a horse is 7 of 9 lifetime, you just kind of have to take note. And I think Street Loot could actually get a little bit lost on the board. This is, the Laurel local horse. And I think people might get, aggressive trying to take some of these, out of town horses that are shipping in and might ignore Street Loot a little. You might actually get better than that price. So I think Street Loot makes a ton of sense. Right run style, likes the track, right distance, loves winning. A lot of things to like there at 9-2.
Your daughter loves it, Brian. Or is that you, Chase?
Mine.
That's Chase.
That's mine.
That's Chase. Mine. I can't tell which one. Yeah, I'll just jump in real quick because I agree with you guys. I actually really like this 5 Street Loot. It's probably my second pick in this race. I do think that this pace does look a little bit contentious. I know it's only 6 furlongs, so I feel like when these sprints melt down, you're not looking for someone to come from all the way in the back, but you want someone to sit in that second flight, So I think that Abrogate might get that same trip, but I really like Street Loot here. I actually kind of have a soft fade on Abrogate. I think I'll probably use as a B. But the other horse I want to use, and I feel like it's a very topical horse, but that's going to be the 7 Inject. I really do like Inject here. Now, I mean, just a huge jump in figs this last time out, and has, I think, the best fig in the field, I think, with that 108 last time in time form. So I think Inject is going to kind of sit a similar trip to that 5 Street Loot. I think you're going to be sitting in that second flight and take first run at the speed. So I just need the 1, the 5, and the 7 here. Preference to the 5 and the 7.
Obviously it's a 9-horse field and we're all talking about the same 3 or 4 horses. And I'm going to agree with most of what you guys say with Street Loot and Abrogate. The only thing I'm going to throw out there to be a bit different that I'm going to look at is I have a note here to watch the replay in the last race, and I wasn't able to do it today. But the 8 Euphoric comes in on a slight cutback from 7 furlongs to back to 6, gets a jockey change, showed a lot of speed, was just outmatched in the Bells G2. Let's be honest. And I don't want to say the horse is getting some class relief here because Josh will make fun of me, but it is. And I do think the horse has shown enough speed. I just wonder, like you mentioned, Josh, if it's going to be a contentious pace, can this horse finish? 2 back, the horse is able to finish, but that's an optional claim or a 61, and there really wasn't much there. So I want to watch that replay from the last out, see what actually happened. He didn't break down, but weakened at the eighth pole, I believe my note says. So I'm a little concerned that if he's hung up in a battle, might be toast. But at 6-1, if he floats up to 10-1, might be something that I'm looking at.
I believe Caleb and possibly Mark or Chase, you guys thought this is the horse I was going to take in this race upon first look.
I think we did. Yeah, I think we did.
You guys are playing this weird guessing game on which horse is Josh going to be on.
No, I'll put you on Street Loot.
No, I thought you guys put me on the Lone P horse. I think eventually with Jared number 4.
I did not.
No. I stayed on Euphoric.
It was Euphoric.
I see E8, and I think Josh.
Lo and behold, I took it. So.
Stephen Fox says, "How come no one's talking about the run happy? Does no one need a new bed?" Which was the 9 Joyful Cadence.
I just didn't think she was fast enough in here to be a real flyer. And I will say I like Brian's 8 quite a bit, but the one horse nobody mentioned, I'm kind of surprised no one mentioned, is the 2, Red Ghost. If you look at it, she destroyed Amazing Field.
I did. Those were my 2, Red Ghost.
Oh, you said Red Ghost? I'm sorry. I thought you said 4.
You thought he said.
I thought you went 1-5, not the 2.
No.
Okay, my bad. No, I was just saying Red Ghost is a horse in here that I think if you want a horse with upside and a little bit of dirtied up form, Red Ghost is your horse. She hasn't been really tested yet. Who knows if she could really pass horses? But if you watch that last race, she was stupidly impressive at Keeneland.
Hey, how old's that horse?
3.
Who's the trainer?
Some guy named
hates Mondays.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So a 3-year-old with Wesley Ward. Okay, thank you.
Hey, Kamari had a nice 3-year-old season. Come on.
Chase got there. Thank you, Chase.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Let's move on to the Hilltop. Got a mile on the turf here. Brian, this way you can't say that you're just going to pick something different because we all said the same thing. We'll let you start this one off.
All right. I got this down to 3 horses, and I really can't figure out how I want to go from there. I think the 3, since we'll start up top with Alda at 5-1, obviously it's Grand Motion. Grand Motion's barn seems to be heating up as the temperature heats up at the various tracks. Horse looked better than last out. I mean, if you go by strictly off the running line there, the horse showed no interest. First off the layoff, I wasn't too worried about it. I don't have the stats right in front of me. You do, but Grand Motion usually isn't that great off of a long layoff. So
you realize he's only 8% second off the layoff, right?
Well, that also happens too. But this is
just throwing it out there.
No, and you're right. And it's one of those things where it's a horse that jumped off at me at paper and probably shouldn't have, but it did. So, I'll stay there. And then I'm also looking at the 14 out of sorts. Obviously, Brittany Russell, and this is a little homegrown horse, if you will, but it's one of those horses that probably scratches out, right? Probably has no business being in a turf race. Has been on dirt its whole life. And I sit there and look at your numbers, and there's a lot of question marks to this horse. And this isn't exactly a power play move for Brittany Russell. But at 20-1, I'll play because the horse has shown some speed. And, I'm usually the guy that picks something different than everybody. So 20-1.
Really on the first time Lasix angle, your 14 makes some sense. I would 100% agree with you on that in that race. I almost wonder though, is that horse entered with the hopes that they get rain and this comes off? It does not look like there's any weather in the forecast, but
the pedigree's not exactly screaming.
Yeah, it doesn't scream turf. But I believe it or not, Brittany Russell is actually, for a trainer you don't really think of. She's actually got some pretty decent stats. I mean, she's she was 17% first time Lasix. She's only about 8% going dirt to turf, but it's got a massive ROI. So she tends to do well with prices going dirt to turf. So,
so I should, end with this is you see where I ended up. I ended up on a 5-1 and a 20-1. I mean, I wouldn't take 7-2 on this morning line on the 5 ever. And this race feels like something's going to come in at a price. Whether or not I'm on the right prices, who knows? But I don't know how you could comfortably say, I'm going to single the 5 and move on, given there's so many questions back there. So, but I'll let somebody else chime in on the 5. Mark's probably got him singled.
I actually want to go ahead and highlight our boy E.M. Schneids over here saying that Red Ghost was actually a works horse at the spot last year.
Yep. I think we're all on Red Ghost.
So let's hope those works from last summer really hold up tomorrow.
Dude, those works last summer were not good, if I remember correctly.
They were bad, real bad.
They were not good. We dude, like essentially, we're still riding on that Derby day, that one Derby day, Derby weekend.
The entire Saratoga meet after that Derby day, where works you could just print money by playing works horses, and then the following year they were horrible.
But I still think they changed their clocker, to be honest with you. That's what I think happened.
Yeah, I think it depends on which clocker you get, how good they are, because they went that sort of operation exploded and they had to hire a bunch of new staff. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. You trying to go, Josh? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead here real quick. My top pick in this race is actually the one Tracy Flick. The horse just broke its maiden last time out.
Did not actually break its maiden.
Did not break its maiden. Got DQ'd.
You are
got
taking the
DQ'd.
maiden.
And it got DQ'd again. But
just like Medina Spirit.
Oddly enough, the horse is the fastest on time for him by quite a bit. So horse is still a maiden, but I'll take a shot here with Tracy Flick as my top pick. And you do notice that there is a Clement horse in this race, and Joel is staying on this horse. So I think this horse makes a ton of sense. And with it still being a maiden, I don't know how the figs stack up on. I don't know how the figs stack up on other, like on DRF or whatever. And the horse doesn't look fast enough either on Briz, but time form has it as a standout. So I'll go ahead and I'll go with the one. My other kind of A play is going to be looking more towards the outside. That's going to be the 12 horse Speed Lane. And Speed Lane is just kind of like, I think the last two figs, the horse has kind of figured it out the last two times. It didn't break its maiden at Fairgrounds, but was able to break it at Keeneland. And those two performances, I think, just fit right in here with the rest of the field. I know it's a maiden breaker coming in, against other winners, but I think that this horse, they tried it on dirt a ton, and they finally put it on turf. And yes, I know it's Union Rags on turf. I realize that I'm just like sticking my foot in my mouth, but if I get 15-1 on this horse, I will bet Union Rags on turf, and probably lose money. I think
I'll give you 15-1 if you can put your foot in your mouth.
Oh, actually, that probably can't happen. I know you were shit talking the 5 a little bit. I do like the 5. I have the 5 written down more as a B, but I mean, the horse makes sense. Came first time in the U.S. and ran a really good fig. Is adding Lasix, so I mean, this horse could just like run off the screen. I don't know.
No, I wasn't necessarily shit talking the 5. I'm just saying it's 7-2. I can't sit there and say I could single that horse. Yeah. I mean, that was my approach. Sorry.
Yeah, and I think the 6 is another horse in here that makes a little bit of sense as well. You get Grand Motion with you get a Radaboard. I mean, just toss that Gazelle. I mean, I don't know, the horse got the ouchies stepping on the dirt. But going back on grass, those grass figs fit right in here with the rest of the field. So it's going to be kind of price dependent if I'm playing, single race wagers. Depending on the price between the 1, the 6, and the 12. Those I think are all value plays. If I'm playing something horizontally, I'm not going to get beat by the 5. I think the 5 makes sense. And I think the field is big enough that, if you eat the chalk here, I don't see the 5 taking a shit ton of money and being like 2-1, 3-1 or anything. So, but I mean, if I were to get like really brave and cavalier, like I'd probably be like singling the 1 and just like hoping for the best. But Mark, what are you thinking?
I like your maiden, the 1. I needed to give you a crap because class doesn't matter or something with the 1. But the 1 does make a ton of sense. 5 is also super logical. The one horse we haven't talked about it, I think, is actually kind of a really sneaky, interesting horse, is the 2 Seasons. You're getting Jose Ortiz on the turf, a race that I think has a fair bit of pace in it. He rode this horse in that maiden special weight at Saratoga last summer, where the horse broke its maiden at first asking. They took a massive jump up in class and tried on Natalma. Horse didn't run bad. It was 3 by 3.5 lengths. You're getting a long break into this race now, over 180-day break, which is not Jimmy Toner's strong suit, but first time Lasix. Jose comes back to this horse when it looks like he had options other places in the race. And this is the kind of horse that you expect those figs to step forward because of that long layoff. So 8-1 with those connections and that sort of setup. I think the 2 is super interesting.
So I've got one single horse I'm going to talk about, and that is, the 12 speed line. Speed. No. Sorry, the 13. I meant someone distracted me. The 13 Phantom Vision for Mike Maker. This is 100% an angle play, but I'm okay taking that the price that I'm seeing at a 10-1 morning line. I'm hoping I get a little bit more than that to play these angles, which is it's a sprinter that's stretching out. And it should, based off the, the average winning distances that I'm getting off the Briz, it should like this added distance. And the other thing is, we just talked about the heavy turf that they had at Keeneland that weekend. Comes off a turf sprint, off that same heavy turf, was on the front the entire way and just kind of faded. And I think Phantom Vision is a sneaky horse that I think that could actually take this thing from gate pop to clock stop just all the way. Yeah, I know. Yeah, sure.
When am I going to outlive that, Steven? When is that joke going to get old? He did not win the race on the turf that we were talking about. So I mean, I was right, maybe technicality and all, but yeah, I think that horse is dangerous stretching out, dangerous maybe on the lead. I think the form is a little bit dirtied up coming from the all-weather surface at Turfway into that really heavy turf at Keeneland. So at that price, I really do like that 13 Phantom Vision.
All right. Pimlico Special, mile and 3/16. This one, I think you guys were actually really right when you guys tried to guess who I was going to pick to win in this race.
It's Last Judgment.
Favorite horse. So Last Judgment, wire to wire. I really don't need to say anything else. Actually, honestly, on top of that, a Last Judgment figs wise fits in here beautifully as well. I know Fearless is kind of like your name horse, but honestly, Fearless hasn't really run like that. I don't think Fearless has actually run faster than Last Judgment. I'm not sure. I gotta look back. Let me pull my notes again real quick. But at least if I remember correctly, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong. But I thought Fearless and I thought Last Judgment. Yeah, at Last Judgment, the last 3 races have been pretty good.
Last Judgment's 3 races are all faster than any race that Fearless has ever run.
Yep.
Yeah.
For brevity's sake, I'm going to say I'm 100% with Josh here. It's Last Judgment, gate to wire. And I'm going to go make a cup of coffee because I'm yawning like crazy.
Let's mush this horse super hard. I think Last Judgment's probably my last pick, or my top pick in here. I did everything I could to hate this horse because I know Josh and his cheap speed. This horse is actually pretty damn classy, and I think there's a good chance that Jose Ortiz loose on the lead. Horses figs just really stand up here. Last Judgment makes a lot of sense. I can make a case for a couple of others. I think Modernist is the other horse that I do like in this field. The one horse, Fearless is kind of a defensive use for me. I don't think Fearless is fast enough, but it wouldn't shock me if Fearless wins this. So those are the 3 that I sort of ended up on. I really wonder, is this a case of a bad morning line, or is this just a case of the name horse taking it, Fearless that everybody kind of knows taking all the money?
Ellis?
Well, yes. I'm going to look at the chalk here, followed by the other chalk. Box with the other chalk. No. I'm looking at the 9. I'll be quite honest. Treasure Trove. I like the fact that, last out at Keeneland on the 10th of April, horse was coming late. Probably need a little bit more distance, and now gets it. There's a lot of unknowns here. I did have the 11 as a horse that, I had circles in A. I think the 11 makes a lot of sense, but, the 9 at 15-1 could be a great price just on looking at the trouble the horse has had and getting to the right distance. This horse has been all over the place from 2 miles to a mile and a 16th, and here it is now. And then the other one, I don't want to make an argument for, but it's one of those conversation pieces. Max Player. Is this horse a racehorse? I want to like Max Player. I feel like Max Player was a great 3-year-old, and we haven't seen anything out of that horse since the Preakness, really. Is this a horse that Steve Asmussen can get back, to a good spot? You look at the way the horse has been working out. You say, okay, the horse looks good in the morning, but cannot get it out there in the afternoon. This might be a spot perhaps the horse can win, maybe. It's kind of a weak field outside of, the 11 and Fearless. So it wouldn't surprise me if Ricardo Santana Jr. gives the horse a good ride. I don't know if this horse is one of those professional race horses or if this is a horse we find at Fauner next spring.
I think. Yeah, I was gonna say Max Player out of the Linda Rice barn has been a very, very different horse, and I don't know. Do you see that sort of rebound back to form? I don't know. I think it's kind of suspect, but there is no Miss Reef in here. There's no Charlatan in here. There's no Swiss Skydiver in here, and there's no Authentic in here. So,
right.
If you want to play the class relief game, which this is the softest field Max Player has faced in quite a while. And
right.
Also, no, 'tis the law, So, this is very soft.
And this goes back to the horse when they broke Maiden. And since then has faced, 'tis the law in almost every outing. So that's why I want to like the horse here at a 12-1 morning line. But it's one of those questions. If the horse doesn't win this, tomorrow, this is the kind of horse I have to just ignore the rest of my life because
you probably never see the horse again. Honestly, I think if Max Player doesn't show up here, I think Max Player disappears.
Saudi bounce. I mean, this horse needs one. I mean, horses will run, and I don't really care. I'm interested to see how Max Player kind of matures as a 4-year-old. I'm interested to see if possibly they try this horse on turf.
Oh,
Mark?
okay.
Question
Go
mark?
Will kind of way with it.
I mean, this horse has got a bit of turf breeding, right?
No, there's no turf.
Honor code's not turf. AP
no,
turf, really?
Tommy's no.
Interesting.
No.
That's funny because Briz has got it. Briz has got it as a turf horse, which is interesting. So,
do you stay with Asmussen if you think it's a turf horse, though?
I mean, yeah, fine. Run it on turf in Texas.
Actually, Max Player might be able to win a race at Remy on turf.
I mean, I think the horse is going to be fine. I just don't think this is the spot for this horse. I don't think there's enough. I think the horse is going to be like a Tacitus, right? Needs a pace setup, and I don't think the horse is going to get the pace set up. I think the horse it's going to be a fine horse. Hopefully, they keep running it, but I just don't think this is the spot for it.
Fair enough. Like I said, it's just one of those horses I wanted to talk about. Not sure. I'd probably need 15-1 or something to actually put money on the horse.
Josh stopped on always.
Do you guys remember this horse?
Yes, I do.
Oh man,
you went right to the local horse, didn't you?
Yeah, you guys remember? I can't believe I remember what was the big race that they was it the Preakness?
Preakness,
yeah, that they thought that this horse was gonna do some
Preakness
running.
Was the Haskell.
Yeah, always mining. Hey, topical again. I'm mining right now. Speaking of mining, here comes. So he's got coffee, but did he get a julep too, or did he put a little something in his coffee?
A little Kahlua. We do know somebody who's a fan of the Kahlua.
I Irished it up a little bit. I didn't go the Mexican route.
The Mexican route, as in with tequila.
Kahlua is a product of Mexico.
Oh. I was gonna say like Aztec coffee is made with like tequila and something else. So, all right, we got the feature here: Black Eyed Susan, mile in the 8th, and man, I don't even remember who this. We were talking about this offline, and we're like, can anybody name any of these like horses? Do they recognize any of them? Adventuring or a Beautiful Gift is 9-5 here on the morning line for Jimmy Barnes and John Velasquez. But I mean, I really don't like him. Like, with all the controversy aside, I didn't really think the horse looked all that fast. At least on the figs that I'm looking at. On Briz, I mean, the horse looks fine, but I thought that I don't know. I thought this was kind of a weak favorite. I thought you can get around Beautiful Gift here, and of course, I mean that's usually when Jimmy strikes is when you think you can get around him. Jimmy comes up and he sticks a cloth in your face, and next thing you know, bam, you're out. But
so I think that Bob is going to be absolutely out for fucking blood this weekend, and so I have a feeling that Jimmy Barnes is going to be out for fucking blood this weekend. And with that being said, that makes me think that Beautiful Gift is just going to absolutely fucking boat race this field.
I sort of lean in the same camp that Josh does, where I just don't think Beautiful Gift is as fast as some of the horses in here. I want Beautiful Gift on tickets, but I want Beautiful Gift more as a, as a sort of defensive B type. I'll let somebody else talk about some of the favorites because I have a real price play that I want to lever up here, and so.
Look, if you had me talk about this race, I literally have 7 horses written down, and none of them are the 10. So okay. I could probably sit here and talk about all these horses.
Then let's go there. My top choice is the 4, Forever Boss. Yep. You're getting Kenrick Peak. You're getting Jose Ortiz. I know we talk about connections too much. I don't really care. This is a horse that they thought was a turf horse. First 3 starts in a career were on turf, and then they decided to and I got a first through a DQ, so it hadn't even crossed the wire in front of anybody else to break its maiden. They ran on synth, didn't go that well. Adventuring absolutely destroyed that field, and then they got rained off at Keeneland, and all of a sudden this horse freaks and throws up a massive performance. Did they just think this was a turf horse who doesn't have a lot of turf pedigree, in all honesty? But did they just think this was a turf horse and then realize, oh, hey, we actually have a really good dirt horse on our hands? I've seen a few times where these types, that they think they're one thing. I mean, Animal Kingdom is probably a really good example. He was a good turf horse, and all of a sudden they threw him on dirt and he freaked. Forever Boss's last race, I realize it wasn't verse as much as in here, but that was stupidly impressive, the acceleration in that last race. And I think Forever Boss at a price in here, she could be a pretty massive player.
Let me toss another one at you. What about the 5, Lady Traveler? I think the 5 Lady Travelers in here with a big shot is going to be stretching out from the 7 furlongs, ran in that Beaumont, and closed into a fairly pedestrian pace, and past some horses, but is getting a huge jock upgrade here, going from Rail Lannery to JJ. So I think the stretch out's going to help a little bit. You got Quality Road on the top, so that this horse will get the distance. So I'm interested to see Lady Traveler stretching out here a little bit. And I think her fig last time out, translates really well to this field, and I think she's in with a shot at 12-1.
So I've got a little bit different approach, and you got to go with a little journey here. So, I spent some time in the Marine Corps, and in the Marine Corps, all the wives cheated. So I have to assume in the Army, the wives cheat also. So with that being said,
I've seen Jarhead. This checks out.
It does check out. Jarhead the movie, the video shows up, right? I'm not sure how I feel.
Really just messed up the jerk for everyone.
Oh, man. So
sorry, please continue.
You throw out the last race at Aqueduct with Trevor aboard. I like Trevor, but, that was not a good spot for that horse. One of the notes I saw was the horse showed some courage. Take that from what you will. That's about all you have from that one, But you go 2 back at Gulfstream Park, horse stalked a little bit and dueled down the lane and was able to win. Mind you, probably not the best field there, but even at Churchill Downs, it was a nice effort. And that's the kind of horse at 8-1. I sit there and say, okay, if Joelle can give this filly the ride she needs, and his feet stay in the irons, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, and I also think the other upside to Army, wife is the fact that there's no search results in this race. So again, you're picking horses that are probably seeing easier company.
Well, class doesn't matter. I've been told that time and time again, and sometimes I believe it, but what do you guys think about what was that? Adventuring. Adventuring romped at Turfway, looked good at fairgrounds, sloppy off the turf race. Can this horse step up here? This is probably the hardest field this horse has faced, right?
This is the hardest field that horse has faced, and I think the morning line is laughable. Sure, Adventuring can win this. At 4-1, Adventuring can totally beat me. Sure, it could happen, but I just think the morning line is way, way, way too short on a horse we really don't know what she is. I think compared to some of the others in here, we know. This one we really don't know. Obviously, she's gotten better every start. Brad Cox is right now is high percentage as they come, but just not a horse that I really want a ton of money going through.
This is also the horse I was thinking about. I mean, they tried this horse to try to get this horse on the turf 3 times. And they couldn't. They just kept on getting washed off, and then they went to Turfway, where turf horses tend to do really well, and the horse won a race at Turfway, closing in. So I mean, I think this is a turf horse. I think that this horse's end goal should be to get on the turf somewhere.
Now, she does have a ton of turf pedigree, both top and bottom.
Great.
Yeah. So I mean. The horse might just be the best. I mean, it could be the best horse here. I had the horse penciled in as a B, but at this point, I was using 7 horses. So I mean, do I really need? I mean, I guess 4-1 is not a terrible price. I mean, it depends, right? If this 10 takes all the money and you do get 4 to 5-1 Adventuring in a horizontal, like that makes sense, right? Like, okay, you probably get a little bit of value here, but I think like single race wager, I'm not super interested in the 9.
And no, Chase was going to talk. I don't want to cut him off, but no one's talked about the Chad in the race. I'm kind of shocked.
Or the Todd. Sorry.
Or the Todd. Yeah, the grass is blue. The grass is blue to me is probably my real first choice, but second choice right up there. Blinks come off. 46% ankle for Chad. I think they're trying to get this horse to settle a little better. And oftentimes, believe it or not, counterintuitively, horse will be more forwardly placed when the blinks come off. Sometimes, the thing is always that, you put blinks on and the horse is more focused and more aggressive. Sometimes horses will actually become more shy when they have blinkers on because they hear all the noise around them and they want to get away from it. So they pull back and they slow down. So they come from more off the pace. So I don't know what move this is here, but I know that Chad does it with a very, very, very successfully. And Chad Narad, a horse that we know can get the distance, has wins at the distance, which is not a lot, or not something very many in this field can say. Actually, the only 2 of them, the Grass is Blue and Forever Boss, are the only 2 that do have wins at this distance. And I think the Grass is Blue at 6-1 is much more interesting than somebody like an Adventuring.
Yeah, I know we just kind of talked through quickly, but I actually have 4 A's in this race. The 4, the 5, the 6 Ice Latte, which we haven't talked about yet, and the 8. Yeah. Those are the 4 horses that like I want to be live to. Nice to haves would be the 1, the 3, and the 9. The Army Wife, Spritz, and Adventuring. But honestly, I think I can probably get by with just the 4 A's I have in this race. I want to get around this 10. I don't think the 10 is going to be like price to performance value. I just don't think it's there. But yeah, this 6 might just be the speed in this race. And I mean, we'll see how the track is playing. I mean, you got Luis Saez aboard. If he gets out in front of it and is able to slow the tempo down a little bit, I mean, he's just going to be gone. I mean, how many times have we seen that happen? Where we think there's a bunch of speed and like no one sends but Luis, and he just wires it. So
I mean, isn't she only fast enough if she fires back to that slop fig where it might be very slop aided?
Yeah, but I mean, we're also looking at what was the other horse? There was a temperature horse, the 4. I mean, was off the race, right? And technically it was good. So.
It was good, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm beating you up for something I chose myself. So
yeah, but any other horses you guys want to talk about in here?
No, I mean, I do think, Stephen threw up in post or in chat something that's a really kind of good point. If you're using the 7, and he said in here, for God's sake, buy the race, that isn't a bad thing here. I think, I'll probably put the favorite in the winner's circle here, but if there's one race in this sort of late sequence that I want a ton of coverage in, it's probably there. And I don't think some sort of an ABC selective buying the race is a bad way to approach it.
Yeah, I think that Bob Baffert's ego is bruised, and he is out to just take absolutely everything, and then just hope that it all shakes out in the testing barn later. So yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion that Beautiful Gift is just going to absolutely have a huge race.
Is there also some sort of, could you 180 degree that angle and state that he's paranoid of popping another positive because he knows if he does it on another big race day that there's already been some massive financial repercussions for him, as a number of connections he works with have pulled back the relationship. If he pops another positive, doesn't his world sort of fall apart and he might be really off stuff? I mean, it was like 2 weeks from the Derby. Probably doesn't have a huge effect, but
problem you have is if the horse is on something, it was on something 10 days ago, it's probably still in the bloodstream.
Yep.
And he's pot committed at this point. Chase may have a point. He may go out guns blazing and say, it is what it is. Obviously he's innocent until proven guilty, so let's cut us a little slack, I suppose. But
yeah, and he wants these horses to win so that he can say, It like, you remember whenever Gamine won in the Breeders' Cup last year, just the amount of Ric Flairing he did, like in the post race interview, of just like all the crap I've been through with them, saying things about this horse, and it was all just bullshit. I think he wants that moment, and I know he's not going to be there for that for this race to do his full like Ric Flair woo and strut, but like,
why wouldn't he be there?
He said he's staying out of Baltimore to avoid any like negative attention on the race.
Okay, I missed that when I figured he would have been out there for the big weekend.
Nope.
I'll be honest, guys. Like, you guys can keep on trying to guess what the fuck is going to happen, but I mean, I don't know. At a certain point, you gotta let what your eyes see tell you what's going to happen, whether it's on the PP or, there's trainer intent and there's all the other stuff that we always try to guess at. But I mean, I kind of figure at this point, like, all this stuff broke so late that we are where we are, right? Like whatever has happened is going to happen. So, I mean, I don't know. I think trying to guess which, like, if Bob's going to fire, or if Jimmy's going to fire, Jimmy's horse is all going to fire. I mean, I don't know, but I honestly, like, just on paper, I thought the horse was too slow. I'm going to try and beat the horse, like, controversy aside. Yeah, and Stephen Fox. I mean, Stephen's bringing up a good point. He's like, I'm pretty sure everybody's trying to avoid that at this point, right? I mean, do we really need any more negative press at this point? Does horse racing need any more negative press?
Fair.
No one wants that heat now.
Fair.
So
it doesn't matter. I mean, be quite honest. This isn't the Derby. Whatever's going to happen here is going to happen here and probably be pushed under the rug.
You also have to factor in that this is a Stronach-owned track. Like, even if something unsavory happens, you got to think that it's in the Stronach's best interest to, as Brian said, we'll sweep. Well, this is the rug. Sweep.
So this we're gonna try and kind of rapid fire through a couple of these early races and get to the later ones here. Chick Lang, grade 3 here, 6 furlongs. All I can really say about this race is I don't like the favorite. I don't like Jackson Traveler here.
Nope. Willie boy.
Oh, you went to Saturday, didn't you?
Yep, we're on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm same as Chase here. I like Willie Boy as my top pick, and I think Mighty Mischief would be my second choice. And I don't really love Jackson Traveler here.
I think Jackson Traveler is totally beatable at 4 to 5. I like the two. I like Mighty Mischief and I like Willie Boy. That's the two I had written down. I didn't really go deeper in this race because I didn't really think too much of that race. And then race 6, I think actually has, in my opinion, I think Mark, you might not agree with me here, but I thought race 6 has the most likely winner in the entire weekend.
Who are you gonna say?
In the 5, Mean Mary. I think this is the most.
Oh no!
I think this is the most likely winner in the whole weekend. But
I think it's the most likely 3 to 5 shot to get beat in the whole weekend.
Yes.
Really?
Suck it, Josh.
I agree.
Yep. Coming off a crazy long layoff. She's not cranked here. This is not the target. No, I think the horse that, the other horse in here that is just as fast on paper and does have a race this year with a win is the 3 Flighty Lady, the Chad. If I would imagine that your horse is going to get bet down to, 3 to 5, and that means I probably get 6 to 1 on Flighty Lady. I will take that every day. In a horizontal, yeah. I'll use them equally, but I think Flighty Lady is the value in here, and she's probably just as likely to win.
Yeah, I'm with Mark, Flighty Lady, and then I also want a little bit of Shug's horse, Vigilante's Way, the 1. That feels like the horse that could sit right off of the pace of Mean Mary, who I just feel like, I really for some reason don't see Mean Mary actually wiring this race, and I feel like that's that horse that could sit, just close enough and kind of explode through the turn and take it. So yeah, those were my 2. Flighty Lady for Chad. Chad had an awful weekend last weekend at Belmont. Like, we had a couple graded stakes with a couple entries, and what should have been some strong horses not show up. So you got to think that he's going to get right eventually when it comes to turf graded stakes. So Flighty Lady and Vigilante's Way were my 2.
Chad does sort of have a tendency of making Pimlico his bitch as well. So
I'm going a way different way than both of you. I like a horse that doesn't even have a rider yet. I think Mean Mary and Vigilante's Way set a pretty honest, if not fast pace. And if Tuned gets a rider, I think Tuned closes into that and wins. I'm just curious to see who gets the mount. It may not matter. I think it may just matter at the tote. 8 to 1 morning line. If it's a jockey that's respected on a closer, maybe we get 5 to 1. If not, 10 to 1. But I would
bet you will get Johnny V.
And I will take Johnny V in that situation because I do think it, with it being a hot pace, or what I suspect will be an honest pace. Maybe I shouldn't say hot pace, but it's something that Tune should be able to close into. And
other option would probably be Junior. He would be your other option in here. But no, I agree with you. I've liked Tune for a long period of time. I think Tune makes a lot of sense. But Tune is the quintessential Caleb horse who sort of comes to the States and just never really does anything. A lot of expectations, and this one just sort of, loves to hit the board, doesn't really like to win. One of those wins did come overseas. The only win in the States is in that mile allowance at Keeneland. I like Tuned, but I've liked the horse for a long time. I just think that this race is probably a little too deep for Tuned.
We really need a QRG for like what's a Caleb horse, what's a Josh horse, what's a Chase horse, like that people can refer to if they're new and they're like, I don't know what a Caleb horse is.
Yeah, we should come up with it, but it's a horse on turf, so you get a 50-50 shot that it's a Caleb horse.
It's a horse on turf that Caleb has all sorts of just like internal fucking turmoil.
So much pent-up angst about turf horses.
So much pent-up angst about turf horses.
Yeah, and okay, I think we're pretty much done with that one. I just see the race differently, I guess, than the rest of you guys. I think Mean Mary, even after the layoff, I think towers over the field. But
Josh, you're not wrong. You're not wrong there. I mean, on figures, on the paper, that it does power off over the rest of the field, and it's just I'm playing that the one's going to send as well, and somebody from off the pace will win. But you're right. I mean, you're looking at some huge numbers there from Mean Mary. I mean, 102 and 101, 2 and 3 back. Towers over what Tune did at 88, but the pace will be the deciding factor there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're handicappers. We get paid to be contrarian, right? That's how we make scores, and that's how you have a good day. Is she
We
the
get
most
paid
likely
for
winner?
this?
What was that?
We get paid for this?
That's how some of us get paid
I mean,
for this.
if you don't suck at it, if you don't just bet every E8. But yeah,
Sign up for AM Wager. Use our link in the.
We am wagering.
Yeah. No, I agree, Mark. Like, like me seeing the race different. Like, I should be happy that I see the race differently than you guys, right? Until, me and Mary just doesn't fire and my single
Well,
was on.
It's easier to feel happy about seeing the race different when you're not looking at 6-5 that 4 other people are trying to say, I don't want to take that horse. When you see a favorite that you like and a lot of people are going against the favorite, it's easier to second guess yourself. But if you were on a 10-1 horse, Josh, and we're all in the favorite, you'd be like, oh, I love my 10-1. So I think it's just a perception and what you think you're going to get as a fair price.
All right, let's move on to race 8 here, the James W. Murphy. And I'm sorry, I did confirm. I looked. Gabby Gaudet did tweet out of door has scratched from this race. Let me.
That's a big scratch.
That is a massive scratch because I love out of door.
Go ahead and cross that off. Yeah, she or he, sorry, scratched her from this race. And I think that kind of leaves the race a little bit more wide open now. I'm kind of leaning towards the 2 outside horses, I think, in this race. Both the 7 and the 8. You got the 7, Charles Chrome. Call him Charles, not Chuck. You got Reeve McGahee here trained. Carol Cedeno, who's winning at just an insane rate at Pimlico.
You mean Little Shug, aka Sweet and Low?
There you go, Sweet and Low.
Sweet and Low McGahee.
But the 7's 2 turf races match up really well here. Is going to be stretching out a little bit. I have no idea. Like, I have seen very few California Chrome runners, so I have no idea. I mean, I don't know if this horse can go longer. I really have no idea. But the sprint figs seem to match up here, the 2-year-old figs. So if this horse moves up a little bit, I mean, this horse towers over this field. But Baby McGahee here, not great with off the 90 days. So it's going to leave us with 8, who's going to probably be your favorite after the scratch of the 2 TD Dance. The horse has past 2 turf tries have been pretty, at least compared to the rest of Chase. Yes, can I help you?
Can you just hurry up and finish so I can go?
All right, fine. Chase, go ahead.
So Altador scratched out, so you have to ask who's actually going to be the pace here. And I have a horse that I really like now, and it's going to be the Trombetta trainee Arzak with one of the local more local jocks, Daniel Centino, up. This horse has some really dirty form because it was just running at Turfway Park. I really love horses coming off of the all-weather, moving on to any other sort of surface because they always tend to pop coming off that all-weather surface. And with no Altador, you have to wonder who the speed is going to be. And I think that mantle ends up falling to Arzak. And so, I mean, at 6-1 in this short of a field, yes, please. I'm all over this horse.
Doesn't your 6 there get a ton of pace pressure from the 1? I mean, they should be both about equally fast early. I realize it's dirt speed, and that doesn't always translate to turf speed. I think turf speed is probably a little faster, but your 6 is going to be forced to be swung, 2 or 3 path around the outside of the 1, who's also going to be up there and be able to press.
I feel like the horse is the most comfortable kind of running with that, that little bit of early pace pressure. And I think if it came down to it, Arzak can put that horse down. I'm not sure if those 2 are going to heat it up enough for someone else to come from off the pace to do it. But yeah, I think after the scratches, people are going to be kind of scrambling, and I don't think that many people are going to land on Arzak. I mean, is it the most likely winner? No, but I love the angle and I love the play on it, especially coming off the all-weather. I love that all-weather to anything else surface pop.
Oh, what are you thinking, Brian? You're deep in thought.
So I've been going back and forth here to take my contrarian approach, and I see where you guys are going, but I'm going to go with Kasim, the 3. Apparently, the pedigree suggests the distance should not be a problem. Obviously, if the horse is good enough for Luis, it's good enough for me. It's one of those things where you get a top jockey on an 8-1 horse. There's a reason he's there, and whatever may be happening that we don't see in paper. You know what I mean? So that's something that I keep looking at. Like, hey, why is he here? And I can't figure it out because there's probably other horses he could have rode. Right? I highly doubt this was his. I didn't want to say first choice, but maybe it was. Maybe Mike Maker called up and said, "Hey, we got this horse."
He is 25% for Maker in the last year. So is he just riding the Maker horse to do a favor?
And that's what I was trying to figure out by looking through the PPs when Josh heard me say, because I'm trying to figure out if that horse makes sense. I like a little bit of the horse down the rail, but obviously the class there, I just no thank you. Horse probably fits on, if the horse could improve, but hard to take a horse that, took forever to break a maiden and at low levels. And the other horse I thought might be a little interesting, but it's going to be too short of a price for me is the Cox horse, TD Dance with Castellano aboard. I don't know. This race is probably one I would not bet on unless I had to. And if I had to, I'd look for a price.
Yeah, so I was going to say, Brian, I know you and Sheldon are good friends, and Sheldon loves himself a paired buyer. But what do you do with 4 paired buyers on your 3 Kasim? Doesn't that kind of scream of a horse that's sort of topped, and what causes that next move forward?
Well, the only thing I could say is had 2 of those were without Lasix, and it returns back to Lasix today. So do you get a little pop right there? I don't know. I do like to stretch out. The horses, only ran at 5 furlongs. Now you get the horse at a mile. So perhaps the horse takes the distance. Again, it's just me looking for a price here. And it wouldn't be the first time I've overplayed my hand trying to find a price that, is a bit of a stretch.
And Maker does love to stretch those turf horses out. Mark, you got anything?
No, I got nothing more. No, we've talked about all the horses I would want to talk about. I'm on the same 2 as Josh, the 7 and the 8. Probably more of the 8, the TD Dance, who will probably now be your favorite over the 7, Charles Chrome, just because don't know if Charles Chrome wants to stretch out. Pedigree doesn't say it, so I don't really know if Charles Chrome was actually a turf horse, even though the horse has got to win in a second on turf.
I thought Steven's question is very topical, seeing as the next race is the Run Happy. Is it Ski Pat?
Yeah, I think so.
Or is it Skip It? I don't know.
I think it's a Skip It.
Would you rather pay to breed to California Chrome or Run Happy? I mean, Run Happy, right? Run Happy still the leading sophomore sire, or does that kind of tail off? I know he was for a bit. So
I don't know if he is the leading sophomore sire, but for me, it's Run Happy. I think I haven't seen any of his horses successfully stretch out, but I think he has more ability from a pedigree standpoint, for them to stretch out than Cal Chrome does. So, and I wouldn't want just sprinters.
So we got 8 horses here. We're gonna be going 6 furlongs, 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares. It looks like our Morgan favorite's going to be the 5 Chub Wagon.
Chase's favorite horse.
Favorite horse, Chub Wagon.
I've used this joke before. Any plane that the president is on automatically becomes Air Force One. Any car that I'm in automatically becomes the Chub Wagon. This horse is legit, I think. I mean, the horse, granted, it's crushed at Parks and Winter Ducks, but passed the eye test. 100% passed the eye test. I really think that Chub Wagon is going to be, your little bit old, your older filly, sprint champion. Like to me, this horse is all the way legit. So I think that Chub Wagon could win this in a romp. And that, we're racing in Maryland, it's kind of the Mid-Atlantic circuit. This is your Parks horse that crushes on the weekend.
Yeah, I like Chub Wagon. I really, really like the horse. I mean, who doesn't like a horse 5-5 and wins by open lengths for fun going away? My concern here is that the 6 is probably faster than Chub Wagon. Chub Wagon is not going to get one of those easy uncontested leads. There's going to be an absolute boatload of speed in this. So I want somebody coming from a little bit off it. And the off-the-pace horse that I want is the 2 Casual. Not my favorite off-the-pace jockey, but horse is 2 for 3 at the distance. Is going to sit back and watch those 2 on the front end go at it. And hopefully this melts and sets up some Casual.
You want to play an exacta with some Casual Chub Wagon?
I mean, does the Casual go on top or on the bottom?
Well, that's completely a preference. If it's top or bottom, I'm not really sure.
I figured you'd be an expert.
Oh.
I mean, I 100% agree with Mark. I think Casual looks like probably my top pick in this race. But Chub Wagon hasn't done anything wrong. 5 for 5.
Hey, what about French Empire? 10-strike racing.
We were all so excited about French Empire before it scratched out at Belmont. So, I mean, it's worth noting because they scratched that horse out for a reason. It might have been that they thought that this was the softer landing spot. So I think that is a good catch, Brian, with French Empire.
Or did they think that the horse is really primed? I mean, it's Cox first off the claim, and they're shipping here because they, a bigger stage.
That's what I thought. I mean, it's hard to ignore that fact. I think the 8 will probably end up being your post-time favorite, despite what the morning line looks like, right? I have to imagine.
No, I would be shocked if Chub Wagon isn't your favorite. Shocked.
See,
yeah, 5 for 5 says a lot.
It does say 5 for 5, but on these very airwaves, Marcus sat there and denounced the Parks angle how many times?
I'm not the Parks hater in the group. He is not here. He's shopping for a house right now.
And you got to remember. You got to remember.
I'm going to stick up for Caleb. I'm going to stick up for Caleb in his absence. He and I were all over some Parks horses at Aqueduct this winter that absolutely showed out in some races. Please continue.
Fair enough. This horse is 5 for 5 with 4 wins at Parks. You're prepared to take 3 to 5 on this horse with that.
Pass the eye test. That's all I got to say is pass the eye test, and is absolutely, I mean, it's done what it's supposed to do against this sort of competition if it is that talented, which is it is absolutely fucking crushed.
Yeah, I mean, the Figs come back legit. There's a win at the Duct. Albeit it's winter duct, yada yada. There's there's asterisks, but there's asterisks to every horse. So
all right, look it. I need to give me a second here. I need to open this image in a new tab. All right, look it. I know you guys are all talking about 5 for 5, right? But just like everything else, right? Inflation happens. All right, and now look at what happened to our beloved 5 for 5.
Yeah, I saw that.
Now 5
it was
for
disappointing.
10. All right, 5 for 10. So Chub
this
Wagon
is not the roast beef sandwich deal that Ray Charles sang to us about as children.
5 for 10. All right, so 5 for 5 quickly turns to 5 for 10.
He's gone.
That's all I'm trying to tell you guys.
I just want to say, under Trump, they're still 5 for 5.
Oh no!
Just want to throw that one out there. Cheers, boys.
Deplatformed.
And now, what are we doing? We're fucking putting gas in Tupperware containers. Look at it.
And now we're gonna cancel Brian. So
did you see the person putting gas into like a plastic
bag?
tote?
Plastic bag.
Yes.
I saw the tote.
Yeah.
I saw the tote. Yeah, that was flying around.
This is ridiculous.
I saw a good friend of mine in high school. His car ran out of gas, and he convinced a girl to take him to the gas station to get some gas to fill it up. And he couldn't afford. He just bought a big gulp container, filled it up with gas, and it like just exploded. Bottom fell out of it in the front seat, all over him in this poor girl's car. Sorry, that was it.
Joey's like, wait, you guys have gas? Yeah, dude, gas there is just expensive now.
And we got water. Let's go full. Let's go full Road Warrior on this.
No Teslas. What's going on here?
Not yet.
Not until Dogecoin gets.
Not until they accept Bitcoin again. All right, let's get off of the. By the way, always mining, I believe, scratched. So I think the price of Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin has taken its toll on always mining. But let's move on here to race 10. We are going to be going. It's a turf sprint, the Jim McKay Turf Sprint, 5 furlongs for 3-year-old and up.
Josh, I have a horrible feeling we're going to be on the same horse in this race.
The Critical Way.
Yeah, that would be the horse.
Yeah, I am on a Critical Way.
Are we all on the Critical Way?
I'm gonna be contrarian and say Fire Crow. That horse really showed a whole bunch of early speed, and it's and 2 races back at Oaklawn. That horse was flying on the lead. So that horse is a little bit of a speedball, and if anyone's gonna outrun the Critical Way on the front end, then it's gonna be Fire Crow.
Yeah, I really liked Fire Crow. Fire Crow is your quintessential dirty, up form horse. So I have no problem giving Fire Crow another shot across turf.
Dude, I'm like sitting here staring at my other screen trying to find what number Fire Crow is. Fire Crow's the 11.
11, yeah.
Wait a second. Ron Moquette knows how to train. Like, he has runners on turf?
They don't run on turf very often. No, this one hasn't run on turf since
I asked that question.
November
and the internet goes out. No runner since 2019?
No. I said this horse hasn't run on turf since 2019.
We lost Chase, but I'm on the Critical Way. I think the Critical Way makes a ton of sense in the spot.
I know you're kind of
earmuffs everybody, but this horse is getting a ton of class relief.
Oh.
So, the horse was running against Bound for Nowhere and Imprimis, who were probably the 2 best turf sprinters going right now.
Monster.
So, Imprimis is also a monster. Let's be fair. Extravagant kid. Extravagant kid sucks, but Imprimis and Bound for Nowhere, Critical Way got the better of Imprimis 2 back. So, yeah, I think the Critical Way is your most likely winner here. I am also interested in the horse on the outside.
13, yeah.
The 13 yes. Past. He makes a lot of sense here. But, I have a hard time taking 7-2 on a horse in a turf sprint in a 13 post. So I don't, and welcome back, Chase. I said Ron Moquette and turf, and all of a sudden the Arkansas internet cut out.
Right.
So
because they've never heard of turf racing. That's a new thing down there.
The horse has showed a little bit in its two turf races. It's 100% a get brave on the front and try to hold on type horse. But at that price, I'm willing to take the shot that Fire Crow gets brave and somehow wires them. And it's worth a shot to say maybe the move to turf is going to be enough to get it going.
So, Josh, with a completed pass, are you a little less scared considering the run style on this one? This one is going to be sort of in that probably sitting 6th or 8th in this race early. So, I would imagine Cruz would be able to, tuck him in, kind of be keep him clear and then make that one big,
big shot. Keep pounder.
I do agree with you though, Mark. Like, the one thing, like it's. You would like the horse a lot less if it was a speed horse sitting 13th. So I think completed pass is still going to have a bit of a tougher trip being posted that far out wide. But really, you get a couple horses to scratch in here. I know it's a big field, but if you get down to like 11 horses, maybe you get 2 horses to scratch. I feel a lot better about being from the 11 post and trying to close in. And there could be a fair amount of speed in here. There always is in these turf sprints. And so you don't want someone to come from way the heck back. but completed pass will probably be in that second or third flight, and it might be able to make a run here. But really, I know it's kind of chalky, but those are the two horses I'm interested in the most. The two short prices, the 4 and the 13.
I think we've talked about everybody else that I was sort of interested in. The only horse we haven't mentioned, Bulldor is in there. The one who, again, another horse that hasn't been on turf in quite a while, but does at least have a win off it. I think makes some sense. You're getting Santana, who isn't my favorite turf rider, but the horse does sort of make some sense in there. And I also think the 5 Hollis makes some sense. Again, a horse with pretty dirtied up form, has the pet area, has 2 wins over turf, can be very forwardly placed, could probably be just off of this pace, should be able to sit, right off the 4. And if they go nuclear on the front end, you're getting a rad who should be able to judge that pace and kind of get it done late.
Oh, I'm sure my entire screen, huh?
That's funny. Entire screen. Yeah.
Thank you for jumping in on my Kanye joke, though.
Dude, what the heck happened there? That's funny.
Bulldor was another horse that ran at Oaklawn and had just a great win in the slop in the King Cotton, coming from way off the pace. The horse has some closing kick to it, but this really feels like a situation where you're putting Ricardo Santana Jr. in a thinky situation where he really needs to be in a just righty situation. Just Cindy, no thinky. So that would be my only knock on Bulldor, but it's I don't dislike Bulldor either. But I'm all over these just Oaklawn fucking shippers that don't have any business to being on turf. So this will be the X in my sequence more than likely.
I also think you see a lot of these Oaklawn shippers who they use, they're there because their barn's there. So Asmussen's got a huge barn at Oaklawn. So the horse is there, and then they run these races that are obviously tune-ups for later on. So I know with you playing Belmont and other tracks, you're going to be able to see those horses that, hey, that was clearly a tune-up for this next start at, a Belmont or they're running on turf to, at Pimlico or something like that.
Any other horses in here you guys want to talk about, Brian?
That's a negative. We've talked about them all. I want the next race.
You want the next race?
Yep.
Oh, the Maryland
Sprint. Oh, what a race.
Yodel-ee-oo. That's all I got.
That's the pick.
That's
the pick? You're going with the local horse, huh?
You have to say it like that if you talk about it.
Well, actually, Brittany Russell. I thought Brittany Russell was a local, right? She used to be Laurel, but I guess she was running. I saw Brittany Russell, and I just assumed that this horse was local, but this horse was running at Gulfstream and Belmont. So
I could tell you why, but I don't want to. No,
I don't think she gets enough respect for all the triple doubles that she's gotten in the NBA this year. Brittany Russell. Yeah, that's about right, Mark. That's the reaction I was looking for.
I'll keep this back on horses now. Before I don't trust Strike Power here. I've never really liked Strike Power, and this pace seems to set up to be a little bit contested. And I'm thinking if any of them are going to sit back, it's going to be the 2. Just looking at the running lines, so 2 might be able to sit the pocket trip and pounce on a pace that falls apart in a 6 furlong. One of those races comes flying by down the rail on the 16th pole. I think the 5's going to push, obviously, and then looking at the 7, the 8, and there's a lot of speed here for being a 6 furlong race, which is no surprise. But you look at the 8 Special Reserve, and that's the kind of horse that seems like it's a need to lead kind of horse. And in this field, I have a hard time trusting that. Same thing with the 7. So, figure out to go somewhere different. Take the local horse or the local trainer, if you will, and hopefully see something. Right now the morning line's 8-1. I think I see every bit of 8-1 given the other horses here.
So go ahead.
Go ahead, Chase. No. I was gonna make a real bad Flagstaff Whitmore beater joke, but we'll just continue on.
Let's just never mention Flagstaff again, okay?
For the record, I had Flagstaff. I just want to throw it out. What up?
So did I.
But so you've got Ricardo Santana Jr. now doing what he does best, which is Cindy and not Thinky with strike power. But with that all being said, that is not my pick. I'm going to go for the horse that I think is going to be picking him up and laying him down late. 3s over deuces. That's my just kind of like this looks like there's no way that the pace can actually like sustain itself, and this horse is going to be just kicking late. It got to be just like a gigantic price on this horse. I haven't seen what the morning line is.
21.
Yeah, at that, I'm going to take that shot. Do you get a horse that's going to be forwardly placed to win this? Sure, why not? But let's take old Gary Capuano and Victor Rosales here, and say that the race just falls right into 3s over deuces lap.
Dude, not horrible. I looked at that horse for a long time. If you look at that replay from last out, the horse kind of walked from the gate, and there's a strong argument to be made there. I just wondered about. Hold on, Josh. Plug your ears. If the class was a little too much here.
Yeah, and
it 100% is. It has to fall right to that horse for it to win. So I don't disagree with your point there at all.
But I don't disagree with yours. And if you're going to take a shot on 20-1, I think that's the horse to take.
Yeah, I tend to very much agree with Chase on a pace scenario here. There's a lot of pace in this race. I think it does come apart. And I took the other local horse, and that is the one Locky, who I think is a horse that some of those figs definitely fit. One last out across this track, 7-23 at this distance, 2-4 at Pimlico. So horse likes to win at this distance, likes to win in general, likes to win at Pimlico. And I'm going to get 6-1 on a horse that should be very forwardly placed and get a rail draw, so not have any or very limited traffic problems. So I think my top pick is going to be Locky.
So every time I read that trainer's name, like I have to slow down and read it because I've read it enough now that I know that it's Dilla DeVico, but in my head, his name is just Dildovich. That's it. Dildovich. That's what I've called him forever.
He should train Chubwagon.
Yeah.
This segment's brought to you by Lover's Lane.
Yeah. Check out adamandeve.com. Hit us up for promo codes.
You guys talked about two of my. I have 3 A's in this race. You guys talked about 2 of them. The one Locky and the 2 Yolehi, who both make sense. One horse that you guys kind of didn't mention that I am interested in is going to be the 10 Lebda. I don't know. The horse is fast enough, but I think this horse might be severely pace compromised with this pace that's going to be happening here. If the horse can kind of sit just off either the 5 or the 7, whoever is going to kind of get that lead, I think the horse has got a chance. But I'm looking at prices in this race, and I like the 1, the 2, and the 10. I think both the 5 and the 8 both have shots in this race. I think I prefer the 5 over the 8 if I were to take a short price, but I have a hard time going 5 deep in the race and using like both the first and second choice. So I'll have to do some kind of I'll probably have to do some like jumbling around, but the way I kind of have it right now is I have the 1, the 2, and the 10 as A's. I got the 5 and the 8 as kind of B's. I'll mess around with that structure a little bit, but I really think that the 1, the 2, and the 10 in here, they all have just as good of a shot, and you're going to get a much better price, I think.
Yeah, I think if you're playing this late pick 5, this race, or honestly, even the entire card on Saturday, this race has the largest chance of a price coming in. I'm 8 deep in here, so I'm probably putting the favorite in the winner's circle. But I think this is the most likely price potential race in the sequence.
Josh, I have a question for you. If you have the 5 as a B, how do you not have the 7 as a B at a better price when they're essentially the same horse on paper?
Yeah.
Just asking a question here.
I mean, the 7 looks a little slow, I thought. I mean, like I guess that race 2 back at Parks, but never Parks. So, I mean, maybe this is the Parks horse that wins. I don't know.
Not to answer the Josh question, but I would say this 7 is an absolute desperate need the lead type who won't get the lead in here. Where I think the 5 has a chance, is a horse that can actually pass other horses, speed type, but can pass other horses. So that would be where I drew a line between the two.
It makes sense, and I threw out the 2 horses that I thought were needed leads, and that's the 7 and the 8. I just if you're using the 5, you can make a strong argument that the 7's a very similar type of horse. So.
Yeah, Stephen Fox, our friend Evil Bob Dole, is in chat just dropping fucking truth bombs on everybody right now, which is
he's correct. Yeah, no, I will effectively buy the race. I will when I'm this way on this type of race, I will just buy the rest of C's. Yeah, no, that's what I will be end up doing.
Single the 2 and move on.
I think my favorite play is use all but one.
Oh, but it's the one that always gets you. I've done that so many times. I'm going to play all but. And then,
I saved $7.
Yeah, Brian, I just don't understand how your 2 wins, considering the horse is not as fast as 3 or 4 others in the race, and I don't see a pace setup that massively falls in your 2's lap.
I appreciate you putting that horse in the winner's circle for me. I will now double down my pick 4.
You just got to cut me a percentage. That's all.
Negative 1%.
Damn it!
I used the spreadsheet that a guy I know made. No,
the guy you know made?
Yeah, a guy I know.
Okay.
He married
a guy. Shocker.
I know one guy.
Okay.
Sorry,
I usually use it, and I don't actually play the tickets on it. I look at it. I'm like, oh, I'm smarter than the spreadsheet. Let me not play this spreadsheet pick. And I like to go 4 out of 5 on that. And this will be the race that happens on.
All right, I'm going to go. We got some comments in the chat here. I want to get to Joey saying that he didn't have time to look at the card yet, and he's working late, so we're helping him cram for a test, so to speak. Well, thank you, Joey, for checking in here. Fighting Irish saying that go ahead.
I'll just say, Joey also had a comment about the pick 6 pool for tomorrow versus Saturday. I would avoid the pick 6 because the pick 6 is a jackpot at Pimlico. And I don't think there's a mandatory either of those days. But what I would say is the pick 5 at Pimlico is an extremely low takeout wager. So if you like money and you're somebody that plays with any consistency, you're much better off to approach the pick 5 than you are the pick 6.
Hey, if you're going to talk about takeout, let's throw that out there that the pick 3 and pick 4 are both pretty high takeout.
Yeah.
Almost, what is it, 25% for both?
It's like 25-ish, yeah. But the pick 5 is, I think, 12.5%. So if you're somebody who has a longer sequence look, you're looking at horizontals. The pick 5s are the wagers. You get 2 of them each day, and those are the ones you want to be targeting. If you're somebody who is shorter, in sequence structure, maybe just pick some win bets. I think you're going to get some prices, and you can do real well with things like win bets or maybe even daily doubles. I don't know what the rate is there.
And with this field, and with I don't know what ADW you use, but if you're a TVG user, I think you have money back specials on every single race for win bets, and it makes it a good card to just attack with win bets. Either say you've got a chalky horse that you want to hammer. Go ahead and hit it with a win bet, if it somehow finishes second or third, at least you're going to get your money back. Or you can have the reverse philosophy of I'm going to take this long shot, and at the very least, maybe it can suck up for second and third, and I get my money back. There's a lot of ways to play that, but that's on the pick 6. My first ever pick 6 that I hit was on Preakness Day. At Pimlico, and it paid. I was so excited, and it paid $40.
I think it paid $60. It was like $63, something like that.
Yeah. Irregardless, it was not the grand pick 6 victory that I always thought it would be. So it's kind of put me off of pick 6s on Preakness Day forever.
Well, let's be honest. If you're a smaller bankroll player, pick 6s probably aren't your forte. You're better off taking that same $40 and playing your win bets, and maybe you're an exacta or daily double or something like that, and churning your money to where you can make a profit. A pick 6 is glorious. It's a romantic pick 6 to sit there and walk around saying I hit a pick 6 for $100,000, but obviously it doesn't happen every day. So, if you're watching this and you are a smaller bankroll player, maybe you look at daily doubles and exactas and utilize your bankroll. Know your pool you should be in.
Dude, $100,000 buys you a lot of romance. So,
yeah,
let's settle down.
Buy you every variation of Chub Wagon you could ever want.
There you go.
Sure.
You shouldn't have to buy romance. This is 2021. I mean, there's enough dates, enough websites you can swipe right on, right?
Yeah, or I mean, all you need to do is just buy some things off somebody's Amazon wish list. So I hear.
I've seen.
All right, moving on.
I've seen your wish list. It's coming, big boy.
Oh man!
Wait, where's his Burger King Home of the Whopper shirt? Come on, Chase.
Oh no!
Burger King Home of the Whopper.
Did you have a Home of the Whopper Burger King shirt?
It was the Baconator.
The Baconator.
You completely ruined that.
Not one, but two deliveries of Wendy's T-shirts that I had no idea where they were coming from, and then a duplicate showed up, and then I learned it was Brian.
In all fairness, that first one sat underneath the sorting machine at the Little Rock Postal Service for like 3 months or 3 weeks.
It's North Little Rock.
Yes, it's very specific.
Yes.
Yeah, it's another city, whole different city.
Well,
it really doesn't make sense that it's a different city, but it
No,
is.
it doesn't. Not at all.
The package is wearing blue.
North Little Rock. Like, wait a second, but it's what? That makes no sense.
Yeah, there. Oh, yeah. So Chase, that pick six, I also hit that pick six, and I had 3 singles. I think one was Justify. I think one was Axeman.
Axeman.
And
Actually,
I think
turned to great profit because you did. I don't think you had you could go like 3 singles and you didn't have to go more than like 1 or 2 deep in the other one because it was in the slop and there was a crazy speed bias on that day. It was one of those like sloppy speed, sloppy sealed, just like speedways. Yeah, I turned to profit. It was still full on boner poison though.
That's so funny. Yeah, going
Did
back.
you say boner poison?
Yes. I used the term
Chub Wagon.
boner poison.
The anti-Chub Wagon there.
I'm gonna handle this like congressional hearing type. I believe it was boner poison. Boner poison.
Yes, we heard you.
I don't know what horse Josh is on in this race. So.
Yeah, you could do the Sammy Sosa, and you can just pretend you don't speak English, even though you've done English interviews your entire career. Fighting Irish said that Lebda's been in his stable for a while, but he loves the horse, but it's not a 6 furlong horse. Yeah, I think you're getting a price.
Fighting Irish to shake down the thunder on days like Preakness Saturday.
Yeah, I think you're gonna get a good enough price so you can take a chance on Lebda. But yeah, I mean, Mark has nailed it right on the point. We're gonna be going to the dinner party, grade 2, mile 16th on the turf. I'm gonna be probably just singling some like a hot brown here and just moving on.
Really? Yeah, I think this is one of the races I feel I can be skinnier on in the sequence. I'll probably have a little bit of a game theory ticket where I'll buy the race, but I think between some like a Hot Brown and Sacred Life, the 5, you hit this race 95% of the time. Those are the only 2 I really need.
Hey, not to be a fool, but didn't you say you're going to buy the last race too?
Have you seen some of my tickets? I mean, I like me some big tickets. I will be ABC, ABC buying, Brian. So there will be some sort of structure there where I will be leveraging my best opinions. My best opinions are the 1, the 5, and I might buy everybody else as C's, which will be on a skinnier ticket.
So yeah, I've kind of gone through this mentality where ABC structure is horrible.
You're not wrong.
Too much time on Twitter. The
problem with ABCs is people use ABC tickets as a way of saying, I don't have an opinion and I want coverage. So they don't create an opinion and they're spending huge amounts of money buying races, which is literally what I just described. So I am literally the problem with ABC tickets.
Yep.
I think this race here, I think you single the 5 or you toss the 5 out completely. I don't think you can play both because the 5s can be singled on probably 60% of the tickets here. So if you're playing in a horizontal, you need to have a strong opinion. So if you look at the 5 last out, looking at DRF here, a 101, couldn't win. nice little field there. But you can make a strong argument that the 6 with improvement or the 4 with improvement. This might be one of the closest races of the day. Granted, it's a mile and 16th on the turf, but you sit there and you say, okay, who can you toss out? Because at first glance, you sit there and you say, this is a close field. I can't toss anybody out at first pass, and that's a scary thought when you look at a race like this, because going off the DRF, the buyers, they're all pretty close. Maybe you can toss out the 7, and you hope that was that last out horrible, or did Corey just give a bad ride? There's a pun there, but I'll just keep going.
Yes,
exactly. So at that point, where do you land? And this is a hard race for me to have an opinion on, to be quite honest. I probably singled the 5 just because of what the 5 has proven, in the past. All the other horses have to improve to get to where the 5's at right now on paper. Mm-hmm. So I could make a strong argument to single the 5, eat the chalk, and just move on.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't fault you at all there. I would say the 5 is your most likely winner. But my thought here is I do like when you have these longer distance turf races, and I realize mile and 16 is not super long, but I do like controlling speed. And I think, Josh is going to tell you something like a Hot Brown is controlling speed, and very much is. And that horse has shown when he can get out, get loose, get comfortable. He's extremely dangerous on the front end. He hurt me very badly in a Saratoga race doing that same game. So what was that, the Barbershop? I think for me in a pick 5, I would use equal amounts of the 1 and the 5, just because I think I can catch prices other places that spice up the sequence.
Hey, quick question, and not to cut you off, Josh or Chase, but you said the 1 is controlling speed. Somebody had mentioned righty or thinky. Does the 7 go righty and get in the way of the controlling speed of the 1? I mean, you look and you see some good races on Flying Scotsman where the horse was on the lead early. Are the instructions there going to mess with your controlling speed theory?
You think that they're saying send and get the lead? That's valid. Yeah, all the wins have come on the lead and first at every call. I just thought it's from a post position standpoint, fairly short run up. Well, not super short run up, but he's got to break perfectly, and he's got to really go hard send to get the lead. And I would imagine that those are not going to be the orders out of Sisterson.
Fair enough.
When I play this race, I'm going to play an ice cold exacta, and it's going to be some like a Hot Brown over English beat. That to me just feels like the exacta that I want to just go ahead and say that this is my best vertical opinion, like my most like stone cold vertical opinion on the card. So I'm just going to go ahead and fire a $10, $20, $50 ice cold exacta, some like a Hot Brown English bee, and see how it shakes out.
Hey, not to sound ignorant, has anybody seen the circles and squares for this one?
I haven't looked at optics yet.
I'm just curious if the 1 is out there as much as the paperwork may say it is.
I do want to touch on a comment in chat. Fighting Irish bringing up, anyone intrigued by Bye Bye Melvin? Second start is a 4-year-old. I actually, I have the 1 as a lone A in this race. I do have 2 Bs I have written down. And they're both come out of the same race. I got the 4 Midnight Tea Time and the 8 Bye Bye Melvin. I have those both as B horses. I think these are the types of B horses that you want. They're both going to be, they're both 10 to 1 on the morning line. I think you're going to get a good price. And honestly, like their figs aren't that much slower than the rest of this field, than, the favorites in this race, the 1 and the 5. The 8 Bye Bye Melvin's going to be sitting, I think, in that second flight. Might get first run if the 1 and the 7 kind of go stupid in the front end. Midnight Tea Time has shown that, he's been able to come off the pace, and Luis Saez always gives a good ride on the turf. I mean, he just seems to get himself in good spots all the time. So,
yeah. So my only beef with Bye Bye Melvin is if you look at all of those big figures, they came across, a bog. That Saranac at Saratoga was an absolute bog. It was just so deep. And if you look at all those big performances in other races, they've all come across soft turf. And I don't know if you're going to get that today. I don't think it's going to be crazy hard, but I don't think it's going to be, deep Keeneland turf or that deep Saratoga if we get a bunch of rain during the season. And that's my only thing with Bye Melvin. I agree. On figures, the horse makes a lot of sense, but on the conditions you're getting today, I'm not sure.
I'm with you. The horse needs some cut in the ground.
Yeah, a lot of cut.
Casey, you got anything else? Or you already said you guys got anything else in this race, or can we move on?
I do agree with you, though, Josh. I think you can make a case for everyone in this race. I think Brian said it as well. I think that race is pretty flat, but for me, I sort of had to draw a line, and I AC'd it.
Hey, dumb question because I can't remember right now. Was there something about Delacour? We talked about him a few weeks ago, Mark, and there was something about him with the horses from overseas, and I cannot recall for the life of me what it is. But I tossed the 6 as result fix. I remember we talked about it, but I can't remember. Do you recall that conversation?
I remember the conversation, but I think it's still a core with like first time starters in North America. He's got like one of those obscene 40% first strike rates. Arlen Delacour is always somebody I kind of put in that sort of a Christophe Clement type of thing where he's good or a Bill Mott even good at keeping horses in form for a long period of time. And I always thought of him as being a very sort of classy trainer. So.
All right, guys, we're at the Preakness, and I've been waiting all stream to ask this question, and I'm really sad that Caleb's not here, but we're gonna play Would You Rather. All right, would you rather Bob Baffert wins this race with it? I don't care if it's Concert Tour or Medina Spirit, or would you rather Robertino Diodoro wins this race with Keep Me in Mind?
I'll field that one.
Oh, Chase, you'll take that one? Chase,
yeah,
fine.
I would rather put roofing nails under my toenails and then kick a fucking wall, I think, than any one of those possible things. Like I would rather put my testicles on a billiards table and have someone hit them with a tack hammer. Like that, I just everything about it just makes my fucking skin crawl.
Brian.
Well, what we have to remember here is that nobody's guilty. It's all hearsay at this point, and until the results, the split sample come back, I'm unable to give an opinion on that. However, I don't know. I was making fun of somebody and then I stopped. This sucks. This is the worst Preakness I can remember in like the last 10 years. This is a horseshit race. I don't know how anybody can be excited for this race. The undercard is better. This is a 2-horse race. And whatever. I didn't answer your question, Josh, but I think Baffert wins, Josh, and I don't want Baffert to win, but I think Baffert wins.
To answer Josh's question, I will take Dio of those two options. To answer what I actually think happens, I think that you get the other Baffert and Concert Tour winning this.
Because if anyone needs a Triple Crown race win, it's the tax mensch, David Cohen.
No, I mean, my take here is that if you're Baffert, you love winning. And I'm going to put a bit of a tinfoil hat on in this race for a second. You love winning and you love shoving it in people's faces. But if Medina Spirit wins this race as well, it looks pretty bad, right? You got popped in the Derby, and yeah, so you want to win the race, but if Medina and there's a Triple Crown on the line and there's all those questions. So if Concert Tour, your other horse, happens to win this, then don't you somehow take some of that heat off? Oh, I'm still Bob Baffert and I'm amazing, and he can stroke his own ego, but some of the questions in that Triple Crown thing go away. So I think Concert Tour is probably loaded, but I will say, if you're a pace setup person and you don't assume the fix is in, the pace in this setup in this race is absolutely baffling. I don't understand why Bob is bringing Concert Tour if Medina Spirit's also in the race, considering arguably they're both desperately need the lead.
So I
Gary
think
and Mary West.
I think it's
I know the answer, but
I think it's the opposite of. I don't think that. I think if you're Bob Baffert, you, and especially with the split sample not coming back yet, like, and you still have the chance to say that there was nothing up with Medina Spirit. Like, you can't afford to not have Medina Spirit win at this point. And I think that Concert Tour is there to do whatever Concert Tour can do.
So he's going to run fullback, is what you're saying. He's going to
He's
which
just
Baffert has done in the past. He did that with one of his Triple Crown winners.
Was it was
just
Justified.
The horse had basically told the jockey to block, and the jockey did.
Was it Instilled Regard and Justify? Was that?
Yes, I think that was what it was. Instilled Regard, and Instilled Regard literally ran the race to run interference for Justify.
Blew the turn.
Great turf.
Blew
the turn, took half the field out. Oh yeah,
and then came back to pin the next best horse to the rail. And I think that's what you're going to see here. Is there's not a ton of pace, and I think especially with Joel Rosario jumping off of Concert Tour, not riding Concert Tour in this race. I think, Road Warriors corrected me. It was Restoring Hope, not Instilled Regard. But no. I think what you're going to see is Medina Spirit as the hard send. You're going to have Concert Tour there to come in, neutralize Midnight Bourbon, and pin Midnight Bourbon to the rail. And I think that you have to handicap for Bob Baffert's fucking ego in this race. And what he wants more than anything, because it would be a big fuck you to everybody, is for it to go Baffert 1-2, Medina Spirit, Concert Tour. And I think that he's going to do whatever he can to make sure that's how it shakes out. I do think that Concert Tour is there to run interference to make sure that Medina Spirit wins and to put Medina Spirit or Concert Tour in a position where Concert Tour can run second. Like, I know it's a tinfoil hat angle. I've had so many tinfoil hat angles that come to Derby math and Caleb makes fun of me for and everything, but like, you got to think about the ego of the person involved here. And I mean, if you're out playing the victim after the Derby, there's a whole lot of ego involved. So I think you're going to get a Medina Spirit Concert Tour 1-2 finish.
I don't disagree with you, Chase. I think if anything, like, I want to be like, if I'm playing horizontally, I want to be live to both the Baffert horses. I mean, none of the other horses are even remotely close to being as fast as either of them. So, I mean, if Medina Spirit doesn't fire and Concert Tour wins, like, Jimmy is going to come out and he's going to be like, well, we always knew Concert Tour was a better horse. Like, nothing against Medina Spirit, but like, he was our option A after all of our other option A's, got hurt or whatever happened. Yeah, I mean, seeing either of them win, and I kind of agree. I saw some people on here kind of agree. I think it was Joey that might have said something about, Medina Spirit was great at 12-1 or 15-1 or 55-1. Like, I was trying to bet him on those future pools, but as being the short price favorite, like, you feel a little less good. But then you look at the figs, and no other horse is even close to like Medina Spirit's second place finish to Rock Your World. So it's just hard. I think if I want to be live to both the horses, I think I'll probably play a pretty big trifecta for a couple of bucks with Medina Spirit over Concert Tour, over Rombauer. I believe it was Rombauer, Unbridled Honor, and Keep Me in Mind. And, see if it ends up paying, $30 or $40 for a dollar or whatever. And maybe I have it a couple of times, but
So I'm gonna mention this last horse, and then I'm gonna shut up and let everyone talk about what they think about this race.
No, I won't.
Yeah, I will shut the fuck up after this.
You will not.
I think I am really intrigued by the horse that Joel jumped for, and it's the Japanese horse that he got the mount on in Dubai. It's just those Japanese horses were absolutely crushing in Saudi and Dubai. I think that that Japan is going to be pretty close to actually, showing up in the United States and starting to take some races. And I think this might be kind of the tip of the spear. It's a long shot, and I don't think the horse wins, but I feel like that's a horse that's gonna suck up into the verticals.
So I've been waiting all evening to ask this, and I'll finally throw this one out there. Risk taking the 9, the Chad Brown horse with Jose up. Risk taking scratched out of the Peter Pan last weekend at Belmont to run in this spot instead. Anybody think that the horse that won broke his maiden, was very impressive in the withers, and then just had an absolute, bobbled the break horribly in the wood, and really lost all chance. Dirtied up form to just top to bottom. Any chance this one takes a massive step forward here and at 15-1 as a major player?
No. Here. This is Clairvich Stables wanting to be at the show.
G. Watts Humphreys does his most damage.
But 2 years ago when Clairvich Stables wanted to be at the show, they won this. So, there's history there. But it wasn't Clairvich. That was the Under Armour guy, but whatever.
But
clack, protect this house. All right, now I'm shutting the fuck up.
But I'm going to jump on the Chase bandwagon here with the opposite approach. Chad and Clairvich, they want to win, but Baffert's probably going to win this race. But on the flip side of Chase's opinion, I think the Gary and Mary West entry win this race. It gives Bob a little bit of weight in Kentucky. Gives him
Didn't I just say this? Wasn't this my logic?
I don't listen when you talk.
Was it not in cap?
I have iTunes playing here. But yeah, I don't think risk taking can take that big of a step forward. I think there's other horses here that are closer. And I think risk taking is probably the kind of horse that matures as an older 3-year-old that you're looking forward to at Saratoga. Mark just froze up.
So you think I'm trying to find my Travers horse a little too early, huh?
I do. I think you're about a month and a half too early. Okay. You want to come back in July? Let's talk risk taking.
I respect that.
But right now, I think Concert Tour is actually going to win. I had this as a pretty soft pace race. I think Concert Tour gets to walk, and Baffert would rather win with the West than he would the Triple Crown possibilities of Sedan Racing Stables, given the heat that came down from Kentucky.
Road Warrior saying that the way he saw it with the 2 Chads, Crowded Trade is more talented, but risk taking wants more ground.
The only thing I know is we can toss the D. Wayne Lucas horse out.
Yeah, we always know that's a great move. We do wonderfully when we toss the Lucas horse.
We always do.
Who's D. Wayne got in here?
Butterfly horse.
The one, Ram.
Ram. Who's?
Yeah, main claimer. Oh no, he's going to try and pull the maximum security, going from maiden claiming to winning a Triple Crown race.
No. The only question I have for Concert Tour, and maybe you guys will have an opinion, is Mike Smith has notoriously been known for taking the horse off the lead. And this horse needs the lead, right? This horse has to be out front. I mean,
don't both Bafferts?
Concert Tour more than Medina Spirit, I think.
Yeah, I would disagree. I would say Medina is more than Concert Tour.
Yeah,
Concert Tour got super rank trying to rate behind.
Medina's never won it except for at first at every call, and was horrible in the San Antonio Derby when he didn't break and make the lead.
But I'm not even convinced Concert Tour can get this distance. I said that a month and a half ago. I thought that Concert Tour may be best in a mile, but here we are, and Concert Tour is fresh coming into this. Medina Spirit had a hard-fought Kentucky Derby. Cheating or not, whatever the scandal may be, that was a hard race for Medina Spirit. A bounce here is logical. And if I'm going to take a Baffert horse here, I probably take the fresh one.
Yeah, that was my take as well, Brian. And I guess we get into this whole thing. We've talked about a lot of horses, but we haven't really talked about probably what's your third choice horse, which is Midnight Bourbon, the 5, who, if you were trying to get around the two Bafferts, seemed to be the horse that has the figures to be a player here, has every right to step forward a little bit, had a terrible trip in the Derby. So you can kind of toss that race. And if you sort of toss it, yeah, sort of Elliott's logic here. If the Bafferts duel, doesn't it set up somebody like Midnight Bourbon if both of them need the lead and they get a little rank and get a little heady?
So you're counting on Velasquez and Mike Smith to duel. They're
Okay.
Hall of Fame jockeys.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't.
Things that
it
never
doesn't
happen. Okay, yeah.
I know what Elliott's saying. I respect Elliott's opinion, but with those two jockeys, if you had Luis Saez and Irad, maybe I could buy into that, but not with these two. There's no way.
Yeah, my thought was Midnight Bourbon sits off that pace. They can sit there and stalk, watch the pace. Irad is obviously very good at reading pace, can read what's happening in the front end, can either press if he needs to, or if they get a little stupid, he can just let them go and pick them off top of the stretch. So, if you want to turn to a jockey riding game, I think, Midnight Bourbon has the right jock to make that game. And I think Irad's a massive upgrade over Mike Smith.
See, I'd rather go with Josh's horse than Rombauer. I liked Rombauer coming into this. Flavian sitting off the pace a little bit. If that happens, I like Rombauer. I mean, at a healthy price.
I hate Midnight Bourbon. I think that this horse is going to be the horse that
it's
takes
the wise
money.
guy. It's the wise guy. Yeah,
everybody's all over this horse.
Right? Can you bet Midnight Bourbon at 4-1? There's no way in this field you can bet Midnight Bourbon.
No.
You're not going to, but Midnight Bourbon's not going to be 4-1. Midnight Bourbon's more likely to be 6 or 7-1.
Most likely.
Yeah, because I think you take. I'm pretty certain you might even have Medina and Concert Tour go off as co-faves in the race.
I think people will bet on Medina Spirit and make Medina the favorite just to have that ticket. This is what people start to do, right? This horse may be DQ'd from the Kentucky Derby a month after the fact. There's going to be a lot of logical.
Medina Spirit's going to be even money in here at the longest, if not 4-5.
Look, all I know is I'm going to have a $2 win bet on this stupid Japanese horse, just so that way I can say I had it.
So this is going to be like Argentinian horses for you now.
Yeah, no,
right? You're just going to bet every nation that's sort of an oddball shipping to the States, and then you can say, guys, I had this 50-1 Argentinian horse.
Dude,
who finished second?
I will bet that horse to win also, Josh, because I don't know. It feels like that could be like a super sneaky play. If I throw $2 at it, I'm probably looking at getting about 60 to 70 back. Why the fuck not? Let's bet it to win, Josh. I'm in with you.
Mark, hey. Who was that horse that you and I were both all over at a huge price in, was it Dubai or was it Saudi? I think it was Dubai. And it was
Jakarta.
A sprint. It was a sprint. And the horse just flew out of the gate, and we thought we were going to wire, and we thought we were home.
We got nailed late.
And yeah, was that Matera Sky?
I think it was Matera Sky.
God.
And it wasn't a huge price. That horse was pretty short, but I think the horse was.
I thought the first time that horse 15-1.
Oh, you mean like 2 years ago when Matera Sky? Yeah, Matera Sky.
And then we got nailed again this last time.
Every freaking time. Matera Sky has a run type, and it's to get nailed at the wire.
God.
Hey, Elliot just put a question out there and said that the post is too far outside for Concert Tour.
I do agree. I agree with him. Yeah.
Now,
but it puts him in the perfect position to come in and block Midnight Bourbon, though.
I totally clicked the wrong thing, but Fighting Irish disagrees and said that pose is fine for Concert Tour.
And they have the whole front stretch to run before that first turn. And there's no speed horses inside of Concert Tour other than maybe Midnight Bourbon and then Medina Spirit. I don't think the post draw is an issue there. I mean, yeah, it's a 10-hole, but you have a whole, what is that, a quarter-mile stretch at Pimlico on the front stretch?
You do, my thought is just outside drawn speed at that kind of a distance is a little scary. Medina has the better post draw. I would prefer to be in the Medina slot. I think Medina's controlling because of it. And obviously, drawn outside, you're not going to try to make that crazy go around move. So, are you wearing that shirt tomorrow, Chase?
I don't know. I might switch it out. I might wear the hat and then switch it out with my my shirt for my boys here with the on the wrong lead. Who knows? I can mix and match.
You need to plug your girl Brie. So I like the shirt.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Mark, I know you're playing tournaments this weekend, right? You got a couple tournaments.
I'll probably be in both of the Pimlico features on horse tourneys and looking at some pick 5 sequences. Let's see what scratches turn into. I actually like the Friday card for pick 5 structures better than I like Saturday, but I will probably be choosing some pick 5s.
Chase.
I will. I mean, I'm always looking at Belmont. I'm gonna try to. I don't know. I'm going to try to pick a few spots tomorrow at Pimlico because I do think that there are some prices there. I'll probably try to pick a couple spots in some of the undercard races. But I mean, I'll probably just play it light and try to hit just a couple verticals some places and maybe a pick 5 or something on Black Eyed Susan the Preakness Day. Haven't really made up my mind yet, but it's going to be kind of spot plays all over the place.
Yeah, before Josh throws it off to Brian, I don't want to cut off Bri or anything. Joey had a couple of comments about the turns at Pimlico. As far as the bank turns, no, I don't think it makes any difference at all. I've never really seen where the run style it changes anything. But the one about Bick stressing the turns are not tight, that is the correct take. If you actually compare the radius of the turn at Pimlico to those of Churchill Downs, they are almost identical. They're very, very, very close. The difference is that Pimlico does have shorter straights because it is a shorter overall track. So run up into the first corner from the start needs to be longer. So there are some differences there. But the idea that Pimlico is sort of this paper clip and has really tight turns is really just not accurate.
Wrong person. Steve Foxing is a featured weekend. Remember, chalk and speed. I actually think that the undercards look really good. I think they're more interesting than the big races. Preakness race looks just like a snooze fest. I'll probably play a pick 5. I think ends at Preakness, and I'll be live at the 2 Bafferts, and I'll hate myself for doing that, but know that it's best for my bankroll. Much like betting Churchill Downs tricks. I think tomorrow I'm going to take a look at the Arlington pick 6 carryover. I think they're carrying over.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, they're carrying over 2 days. It's a 20 cent non-jackpot pick 6 with a 15% takeout. So I'll take a look at that. The fields looks like I think they're averaging eight horse fields for every race, so it should be pretty good payout if you can hit that.
Just gonna put this out there for Mark. Horse players has a nice low ratio BCBC tomorrow.
Ooh. Oh, maybe I'll take a look. Thanks, Brian.
Definitely, Pimlico, Belmont, Gulfstream only has 2 races in it. Something I'm eyeing down right now.
I was a little annoyed at the horse tourneys using both Belmont and Gulfstream Park on both Friday and Saturday. I was really frustrated they didn't do the BC thing and have an all Pimlico live or something. But thank you.
They know their audience. I mean,
you mean Gulfstream players?
Yeah, Gulfstream players, which is bullshit.
Even Saturday's got a great 179 tournament for the BCBC live. It's Pimlico, Gulfstream, and Belmont, and
179. Yeah, that's pleb.
That's a great little tournament.
Yeah. All right, Chase. I know you got to go. Make sure you check Chase out tomorrow at ABR. Make sure you tell them that you saw him on the wrong lead, and you love on the wrong lead. He's going to have his shirt on. I'll be looking at the Pimlico.
You look better than Caleb.
Oh, I didn't realize Bree joined the stream.
It's Bri, but that's okay.
I'll be playing that Pimlico tournament tomorrow that Express Bet's having. Express Bet's also going to have, I think, money back. But make sure you guys give Caleb shit. He said he was going to go look at houses and would be home in time, and clearly that was a lie.
I have a horrible feeling we need to fade Caleb tomorrow.
Yeah, we checked the lie detector said that was a lie. He is the father and all those other things. But yeah, we're on the wrong lead, on thewronglead.com. Check us at wrong_lead. Buy a t-shirt. Check out AM Wager. We got a link in the comments, but we'll catch you guys later.